All right,
good.
Seems that everyone is in.
Hello. Greetings to all participants in today's webinar.
Yes, warm welcome also from myself to another webinar in the Masters of Email Marketing series. It's already our third.
Yeah, and we said hello, but I'm Tanel from Smaily.
And I'm Erkki. Nice to meet you, everyone.
So this is the third time in a row that we're holding this event, and this time our good partner PR News IO is helping us. They are the world first sponsored content online store. And since it's already tradition, we plan to organize more webinars in the future. We are already planning our spring volume 4. So, but let's not rush ahead and quickly review what is planned for today.
We're happy to see all. So, sorry, someone is. Microphone is still on. I don't know if we can switch it off from here.
Mute all.
Please turn it off. But anyway, we're happy to see all of you attending, and we are excited to share the knowledge of the most experienced email marketing experts with you. This is a webinar your subscribers will definitely want to listen to. So during the presentations, if you have any kind of questions, write them down so you can ask them later, or we have a chat for this. You can ask like as soon as the question arises. If we can answer it during the presentation, we will write there. If not, the experts will take the questions for you. And well, anyway, we will keep an eye on the chat at all times.
Okay, and who are the experts appearing today? The first speaker is Mikko Seppä from Finland, the co-founder and CEO of the B2B commerce platform HeadQ and the author. The second speaker is Magda Kolesinski from UK. She's the co-founder of the email marketing agency KDV Growth. The third expert is Svitlana Fursa, the head of retention marketing department at Promodo. And last but not least, the event will be closed by Dmitry Kudrenko, the founder and CEO at Stripo Email and eSputnik, who will take us on a walk in the future of the email marketing to the far, far away.
Yeah. Those who have read about today's program before may already wonder about the lineup. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, Adeola is not able to participate today. We're sorry about this, but we know that sometimes life gets in the way, and we send her our greetings. Also, we'll definitely keep in touch with her about future events. But we are very grateful for Svitlana for joining our group of experts at the very last minute, and very excited to hear her thoughts and experiences.
And so, we'll now pass the floor to Mikko. So get your notepad ready and definitely ask your questions in the chat. Aloy, go on.
All right, thanks. I assume everybody sees the screen well. All right, let's go. So good morning on my behalf as well. Super great to be here with you today. Like the guys already explained in the introduction, feel free to ask any questions. And if there's, by the way, if there's any microphones still open, please mute them so it'd be easier to everybody to follow the presentation once there's not any additional sounds coming from other microphones besides the one that's talking. All right, thanks. Super quick introduction, who's speaking. So my name is Mikko Seppä. I'm the CEO and co-founder of HeadQ. HeadQ is a digital commerce platform. I'm going to go through in a couple of quick slides what the company does, but why my background is somewhat relevant to the subject is the fact that I've been in many companies within B2B, like B2B SaaS companies, B2B service-based companies, B2B product companies, selling to quite large amounts of different kind of companies. And what we've learned over the past 20 years is that email is, and email will be one of the most easiest and fastest and most relevant ways to grow your business. My background is with SaaS companies. I've been with B2B SaaS startups, CEO, VP sales, VP marketing. I've done some angel investing, wrote 3 books around B2B sales and marketing, and now, like I said, heading the company called HeadQ, which is a B2B digital commerce startup launched earlier this year. What HeadQ is? HeadQ is the easiest way to turn any website into a sales channel, and with easiest way we mean that when you just add a few lines of JavaScript to your website, you're basically ready to sell. You don't need to have any additional CMSs. You don't need to set up another place that you need to keep up. You can sell from your existing website. This works with any CMS, whether it's WordPress, HubSpot, whether it's Squarespace, Wix, whatever that might be. And you actually get to turn your existing website into a sales channel. So you can get orders in, send better quotes, and collect payments through your existing website. What we are doing is we're essentially redefining what digital sales in B2B means. So with our tools, you can let your customers build their own solution with the configurators. You can let your customers buy directly from you through the customized B2B checkout. And last but not least, you can let your sales reps close more deals faster and more accurately with the quoting tools that are built in to the platform. So one tool that powers 3 different types of go-to-market motions. So that's what B2B digital sales is going to look like. And we're going to have an official launch in Q1 23. And for people joining this webinar, you have an exclusive offer. So if you go on and join the waiting list, you can access our free product well before everybody else when we're going to launch. Just head to the headq.io/get-early-access and you're good to go. Just fill the information there. Okay. Sell better with self-serve channel. That's what we're talking about. So why are we even talking about self-serve within B2B context? I know that many of you think that the only way for B2B companies to sell is only through the human workforce, aka the sales reps. But that's changing. There's a shift happening, and this shift is actually quite tremendous. According to Gartner survey that surveyed more like close to 1,000 B2B buyers across all age groups and all different geographic areas, they found that buyers actually prefer rep-free buying experience, meaning that there's no sales reps involved in the buying experience. So people actually buying like they do when they're buying as a consumer from the e-commerce websites. And what was super interesting was that even the baby boomers, so generation that has been born from 1946 to the 1960, even nearly one third of them felt that the preferred way of buying would be without sales reps. And this is a huge shift towards self-service buying. And obviously, 43% of all respondents across the different age groups preferred rep-free buying experience. And when you think about millennials, just a good reminder, when thinking about millennials, it's good to keep in mind that, for example, myself, 40-year-old person, I'm considered as a millennial, and I've been in executive positions for 15 years already. So it's a quite tremendous shift that's happening, and it poses some opportunities for companies, but at the same time, some changes. So what about the companies then? Everybody understands that there was this period of 2.5 years where actually B2B companies were forced to transform their digital sales and digital service models completely. So it was not the CEO, it was not the CSO, it was not the CTO, but it was the pandemic that led the digital transformation of B2B companies. Some might say it's a bit sorry to have that kind of situation, but what it ultimately did was it increased the speed of this transformation and took companies 5 years ahead of time. And now we are seeing the effects that the pandemic has. So currently there's a huge divide between how companies actually sell and how their customers would like to buy. So if you're a product company, if you have, let's say, a lot of customers, you have thousands of customers or even hundreds of customers, there's a lot of order taking still present in these companies. So not every B2B company and their sales is consultative selling, but there's still a lot of inbound order taking. And in most cases, these orders are taken through phone, email, or some horrendous, filthy contact us form and try to leave whatever you want to buy or whatever you're interested in. And that leaves people with quite bad experiences where, as you can see from the stats, people actually prefer self-service and they only wish to talk to sales whenever it makes sense to them. So the gap between these two, so how companies actually do, how companies operate, and how customers would like to buy, is actually, it's widening. So this is a huge opportunity, but at the same time, it's a huge problem. So what used to be sold face-to-face or on the phone is basically now sold online. And when I'm saying like everything, literally almost everything, not basically the consultancy stuff, but if you look at this, like there's forklift, there's occupational healthcare, there's welding machines, there's accounting services or bookkeeping services, there's digitization or document management services, there's even warehouses. This is actually a funny part. I didn't know that you can actually buy a full-blown warehouse online. There's those phone booths or meeting pods that you can get to your office. There's recruiting, there's healthcare or medical device. There's basically everything that can be sold online today. And the change and faster, so the movement is towards the digital buying. So this means that the word sales actually evolves. So what we considered as sales, like in 70 years ago or 80 years ago, was basically door-to-door salesman. Once the technology evolved and it was possible, everybody had their phones in the office and in the homes, it was easier to reach people in large volumes just by phoning. You didn't need to waste time on actually traveling from door to door. And once obviously internet came, the inside sales techniques and motions took place. And this is only natural step towards digitalization, what we actually see right now. So self-service sales channels are becoming sales as well. So what we consider as sales just evolves over time. So Gartner predicted in their Future of Sales 2025 report that by 2025, 80% of B2B sales interactions will occur in digital channels. So what does this mean? It essentially means that marketing becomes the sales in this new era. And why this is super important is obviously the fact that if marketing becomes the sales, then marketing needs to be driving the actual how to acquire customers, how to retain your customers. And since we're talking about email marketing here, we all know that email is super powerful way of being engaged with your customers. So this obviously is a huge opportunity for a lot of email marketers and companies alike. Okay. So let's take a quick like a learning set of like what is actually the self-service channel anyway, because it's for many people tend to think that it's what we consider self-service as a consumers, but within B2B context, things are a bit different. So if you take a, like, let's say dictionary definition, it basically goes something like the self-service sales channel is the system whereby customers select goods for themselves and pay at a checkout. And while that is pretty standardized and quite easy to understand, I don't actually feel that it's a proper definition for the future, at least. So you can be a purist if you want, but I'd like to extend the definition a bit, because self-service doesn't need to mean an end-to-end self-service buying. After all, in most of the B2B e-commerce use cases, the end customer don't actually pay in the checkout. And this is obviously due to a many factors that, for example, with credit cards, we know that not every customer, or not every company even, have credit cards. And in many cases, the goods that the company is selling might have so poor or low profit margins that it's not really best use of money to give the payment gateway, let's say, 5% margin. So actually having the kind of standardized consumer type of checkout doesn't really make any sense for a lot of B2B use cases. So that itself makes it a bit complex to think B2B e-commerce as like it is with B2C. So what I'm suggesting is that you would try to get rid of your thinking like what B2C e-commerce is, and when you're thinking about like how can we sell stuff online, self-serve in B2B, you wouldn't take your instant like analogies from the B2C side, because they are actually quite bad fit. B2B self-service sales is a very different animal indeed. So my suggestion would be that when talking about what's self-service in B2B, it's when customer is able to conduct key buying jobs online without assistance from the sales rep. And it has nothing to do with the actual payment or stuff like that, but conduct key buying jobs online. That's what's the most important part in this. So self-service sales looks totally different based on what you sell. And I'll take you 4 different ways that a B2B company can sell online. And all of these are aligned with the definition that I just showed you, like what are the different ways that you can do the self-serve. Obviously, let's start with the direct buy. Direct buy is basically a simple checkout for simple products, simple companies, simple business. You should obviously aim for consumer grade easiness in everything. We know that. And if you're working with a super simple product, this is obviously the way to go. So if there's no configurations, there's no different sizes, there's nothing to be configured or selected, just hit the buy button and it will take you to the checkout page or fill in your contact details and submit the order page. That's pretty straightforward. That's probably the easiest use case as you can imagine. But since the B2B cases often require some sort of customization or configuration, there might be some things that you would love to have your B2B platform to do for you. So for example, when dealing with add-ons or upsell that actually play a big part in B2B and how to actually maximize the lifetime value of a customer, I'd suggest that you look at the kind of opportunities that are there within different platforms, and then obviously what is possible when you're linking these e-commerce platforms with email marketing tools. So when you're selling a limited number of different products, having a very basic checkout for your product makes all the sense in the world. Just make sure that there's easy upsell with quick configuration and add-ons possible. But the direct buy, is probably the easiest to understand. What is quite easy to understand as an analogy is the shopping cart in B2B. So if customer is buying more than one product, so multiple products at the same time, it makes all the sense in the world to have a platform that enables this. So add 1 or 2 or 3 or various products to your cart in quantities that you want, hit the checkout, go to the order page, fill in your company information, and hit the order button. Basically, that's it. Quite straightforward at this point. But like I said, B2B and B2C are totally different animals, and they actually are not the same at all. They might look the same on the surface, but what's totally different when comparing to B2C is that with B2B, you have shared carts. This is obviously due to the fact that there might be multiple let's say, departments, for example, buying something from one place. It might be like computers from your IT vendor or whatever that might be. You want to have split cards so that you can send different equipment to different locations, for example. There's approval workflows, because in many cases, the person who does the ordering or checks what products we actually want to buy is not the one who has the purchase power. So approval workflows are quite often in these platforms, and multiple shipping addresses, etc., etc. So this actually makes the standard shopping cart e-commerce within B2B a bit different, and obviously this has ripple effects on how you deal with, for example, shopping cart abandonment. And we are actually going to have a few examples of that a little bit later, but this is a good thing to keep in mind. And when, for example, now that the B2B e-commerce is booming, and it's already 5 times bigger actually than what B2C e-commerce is, there's a huge need for email marketers and loyalty marketers who could actually help B2B companies to deal with this different kind of environment that B2B companies have over the B2C. Okay, then quote cart. Quote cart, as the name says, it's for the companies who like to maintain some kind of control over the pricing. So if my company, for any reason, I don't want to publish my prices online, and this, for some reason, this is a big thing for a lot of B2B companies still. The way that you can let your customers self-serve is by utilizing quote cart. Quote cart looks awfully lot like the shopping cart, but what it essentially does is that you don't have add to the shopping cart button, but you have add to the quote cart button next to the product information. So this feature enables customers add the products in quantities and in terms that they'd like to have, and then submit the request for quote for the company. So this part of the process, it looks pretty much the same as it does with shopping cart, but the logic is different. So this actually is going to involve, in most cases, the actual sales rep. And quote cards are usually followed up by sales rep. So there's actually going to be a human who's going to go through the request. He or she is going to price it, check the inventory and the delivery schedule and everything, then calculate the price, send the quote to the customer, and if customer feels that this is a good one, then customer can self-check out from the platform. There are more advanced platforms obviously available now. have a rule-based automation here. So whenever, for example, you have a quote coming for, let's say, 5 products that are in your inventory, there's no need to give extra discounts or anything, or you can automate even the discount levels that you are able to automatically put to the quote. And then you can basically automate it so that once the system receives the request for quote, it automatically goes on, prices it, gives the terms, and sends the quote to the customer. And customer can then self-check out and do and complete the purchase. And this is pretty straightforward and easy. And there are cases where some products might be available for both. So both for direct purchase and a quote. And what kind of use case this might be? Obviously, this is like when you're dealing with bigger volumes or quantities. So when everybody understands, like if I'm buying, let's say, 2 computers, 2 laptops, most certainly I'm not going to get too much of a discount from these 2. But if I'm buying laptops for my 100 team members, most likely there's going to be some kind of discounts involved. So quote card is a beautiful way of making sure that there's sales reps involved when they need to be, and you can automate the rest with the rule-based automation. And this is good to keep in mind that quote cards usually are a good fit for customers whose products are quite technical. And when customers need to ensure that the technical specifications are right, so that's the place where you probably want to add a little bit of that human touch in the mix, but still have the opportunity of customers actually self-serving themselves and moving forward in their buying journey. Last but not least, the configurators. So essentially, Configurator is a tool or application on your website that lets your customers to build the product or the solution they want by themselves. And there's 2 ways to go about it. First, customer can build a product, get the exact price, what it would cost, and buy. So the checkout process is as the company defines. And the second, customer can build the product selection, like I want to have this kind of screen, that kind of accessories, whatever them might be. And at the same time, every time I do any or any selection, there's going to be a little like indication of the price range that this setup is approximately going to cost. Nothing like, no exact figures, but a price range. And once customer sees this, and if it fits their budget range, customer can then request a quote for their company. And this is exactly one of the biggest opportunities that are there with B2B companies, since many companies sell, I would say, well, not the most complex products in the world, but something that has parts that are configured to some extent. And these configurators are a good way of letting your customers to do the configuration and self-serve buying. This is a huge, huge, huge opportunity, and it's not currently supported by mainstream e-commerce platforms, and that's a truly shame. Now, to the topic of today, why email marketing is so great with self-service channels, especially with B2B. Too many companies, when they're launching their e-commerce strategy, when they're launching channel, they are happy once the project is done and finished. And they have this build it and they will come attitude that, okay, now I don't need to do anything. Now I just wait, aggressively wait to see the orders coming in. But that's not how you do actual sales in digital environment. So marketing is the sales in digital environment. And that's something that we marketers need to take great pride in and be the ones who actually drive this discussion, because too often marketers shy away from this responsibility, while there is huge opportunity, especially within B2B, to show what marketing can actually do in quite big volumes to drive the sales in self-service channels. Email is the easiest and the fastest way to increase sales on B2B e-commerce. I have, to this day, like having actually sold my first services online 1999, I have not seen any single tactic or channel or anything that's more powerful than email when done right. So email is the easiest and fastest way to increase sales on your B2B e-commerce website. But for some reason, it's still widely overlooked, and we go after all kinds of new stuff and tend to somewhat forget what powerful tools we have already in place. So there's 6 quite good use cases that I'd like you to see and what we're going to go through. And as you can see, they are not the kind of the most obvious. Well, shopping cart abandonment is something that obviously you have with B2C, but like we discussed, shopping carts are a bit different with B2B, and there's different reasons. So let's go through them. So you should use email for abandoned carts. We all forget something and leave carts behind. And abandoned carts are a real thing with B2B as well. But abandoned carts with B2B happen for many reasons, not just like I was surprised by the shipping cost, or there was some good show coming on TV or whatever that might be that interrupted me. With B2B, you need to understand the reasons why carts get abandoned. In many cases, if there's no save cart or send cart or RFQ feature available, customer might need to, leave the shopping cart there and get the approval from their boss before they can complete the purchase. So if there's some kind of approval workflows needed in their company, and if your platform doesn't have save cart or send cart feature, this actually results for a lot of abandoned carts. And this is a use case that you need to understand and check. And if this is the case, it's going to require a different kind of approach, obviously. So a basic coupon code is not going to help you there. Actually, it's only going to do probably harm. Okay, so if your store doesn't allow customer to ship products to different addresses, basically per the line item, in many cases, something that's quite often wrong with the B2C e-commerce platforms that are used in B2B environments. And this means that this kind of cases usually need humans to step in, because otherwise you're going to lose the deal. And last, if the product is not available in the quantity or the time when customer wants, that actually results in abandoned carts. But you can fight this, and this is what's super good with B2B commerce, is that most companies still have salespeople. So whenever you're sending out those abandoned cart emails, there is a huge opportunity for you to offer consultancy, call, time, discussion from an actual human being. Or if the use case is pretty straightforward, there's no need to have sales to step in and split the order or whatever, or check when it could be delivered at the earlier stage. Obviously, you can use and incentivize this self-serve buying with a coupon code. And actually, they work with B2B as well. And we have a couple of super good examples where customers are using these quite creative ways and actually utilizing humans with coupon codes to drive the online sales behavior. And that's something that's super beautiful with B2B environment, that the omni-channel purchases actually come through much easier in this than in many other places. Obviously, abandoned carts are not the only thing that in B2B environment gets abandoned, so abandoned configurations as well. So people actually spend quite much time configuring and building their desired solutions. And we have this data set that we pull out from across our pilot customers. And what we see there is that an average customer completes 3.2 different configurations before they're continuing to checkout. So there's two levels of, there's two parts of this process where people can stop doing what they're doing and not continue. So one is before you add product to the cart, so having a different kind of configurations and trying to come up with what's right for me. That's a place where you should be careful and, you know, save this configuration to your database and then be in contact with email. But also the case where customer adds the configured product to the shopping cart or to the checkout. So there's two opportunities already within this, and we've seen that even sending out those mails manually can get you more sales. So this is a huge opportunity. Next best offer. And I know that a lot of people are like, next best what? Next best offer basically is a highly customized offer by company or marketed and guides the customer to the right merchandise, service, or information. And obviously, in a perfect world, this would happen all automatically, and it's basically driven by AI. And you know, but we know that not every company has $100,000 to put on a data strategy or to have your artificial intelligence tools to suggest the right kind of product at the right time for the right customer. And sometimes you need to have workarounds. And I suggest that you have 3 different manual processes that you can put into the place. So manually map, for example, related products. In my example here, you have a welding machine. And as we all know, that there's still going to be some safety equipment that's needed, the safety gloves, the safety helmet that needs to be, and you know, there's all kinds of stuff, material and accessories that you're going to need. So you can basically upsell anything that the customer might need, and it doesn't need to be super exact. Over a time, you're going to see the pattern with the products, with the offers, that's going to be the one that customers are liking the most. So that becomes your next best offer. It takes a bit of work, but actually, if you're dealing with decent volumes, this can result in significant gains. So where can you pull this information? Basically, it's your CRM. If you allow your sales reps to mark the product or service that they've discussed with the actual customer, that would be a super easy place to pull this information from. And for omni-channel companies who have salespeople who do the first sale, the upsell part can be done very customized way if you're utilizing the information that the sales reps have inserted in the system. Also, your digital commerce platforms have the other products viewed or similar products viewed or whatever that might be. This is the stuff where you can pull the information, and obviously your product information management platforms have related products to whatever the customer has bought. So these are like 3 typical places where you can find it. But also there's a lot of opportunities with upgrades and services. And I'm going to use, I actually showed you the image of that they're actually selling forklifts online. For me, this was somewhat, it was a surprise, given the fact that even the forklifts require some customization. But you can and you should sell even machinery like that online, because that's how your buyers want to buy. So whenever you're selling machines, for example, you should be selling all kinds of upgrades or services related to that. And yearly maintenance, for example, is a great way to increase your customers' lifetime value and actually retention rate. So yearly maintenance, upgrade, the service level that comes with your product or service, upgrades in your service packages. So instead of having the lowest service package or the cheapest one, you can sell the difference. So what you're missing out as a customer opposed to what you're having currently. And then whenever you're dealing with physical products, extended warranties are a super easy way of getting more bucks from your customers. And this also works fine with totally service-based companies. We're going to use an example of occupational healthcare company. So besides selling your core occupational healthcare service, that's a retainer-based, basically, I mean, monthly fee that you need to pay. These kind of companies should sell the one-off services to their customers. So during autumn time, it might be influenza vaccination. During the spring, it might be the TBE vaccination. At least in Finland and in most countries, in your company, there needs to be a certain amount of people who have been trained for the first aid. And this is the kind of add-ons and services that these companies have. So I'd say that this is a huge opportunity to offer, even if your salespeople sell the initial retainer deal. So you can sell pretty much anything online. And when you're selling additional services, it often has a positive effect on customer retention rate. And speaking of retention rate, you should definitely use email for loyalty programs and everything. Everybody knows the leaky bucket syndrome. So if your bucket is leaking, aka and you're not able to retain your customers, there's absolutely no idea to try to pour more in. So first thing that you need to always fix is the retention. How to keep and maintain your customers. If you're having a leaky bucket syndrome, there is absolutely no chance that you will grow as effectively as you could. So loyalty programs are actually one of the most underutilized thing within B2B, and especially incentivizing them. So when you're thinking about B2B, majority of any given B2B company's revenue comes from selling to existing customers. So retention is the key. You can gamify this. You can get better discount levels when you're buying more or when you're buying upgrades or stuff like that. And this membership or loyalty program or whatever you want to call it should not only be about, you sending out discounts and offers. That's only usually driving a wrong kind of customer behavior. Like then customer is only going to wait for a moment when something is going to be heavily discounted or so. You should make your membership and loyalty programs all about customer success. Teach them, educate them, help them understand how they could solve their problems better. And this is stuff that's actually going to improve the loyalty and help you sell the kind of stuff that you'd want. So not the cheapest ones, not the most common and easiest ones, but more advanced and so on. And when talking about educating your customers, this is probably the most straightforward thing that you could do. Not just utilize email for, campaigns and promotions, but educating your customers. And I know for sure that many B2B marketers are in a lead gen mode. And what that usually means is that you have some form of information or valuable assets that you'd like to offer to your customers, and you put that stuff behind gate, and that gate would be give your email, and only then you're able to read it. And while that is, it is a tactic amongst others, I'd say that I'm not going to recommend that, since you should avoid unnecessary content gating, because your purpose is not to generate a lead, but it is to educate a prospective customer. If you're gating it, there's going to be a chance that more than half of the people who could potentially be reading or going through your material and learning, and then after that buying from you, are not going to even see that. So just keep in mind that your purpose is not to generate a lead, but to educate a prospective customer. So this actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it. So rather send out emails like how to solve problem with our product, whatever it's called, and don't send like 2 general weekly newsletters or just like heavily discounted items there. Try to build trust with reference cases. People love to read how other companies are solving these problems. And it actually builds the trust. That's a much better way than just send links to your latest blog post. You can do that, but if that's the only stuff that's going to be in the email, obviously that's no good. You should inspire with examples, not just send general product information that's available in your website. So make it a real value for the customer. And at the end of the day, always sell the problem, not the solution. Sell the problem, not the solution. So nothing will change. No company will decide to buy something if the pain of same is not greater than the pain of change. So whenever you're dealing with, let's say, new machinery, new processes, new vendors, new service, whatever that might be, there's always pain involved in the change of doing that. And because of that, the pain of same, so continuing doing the way we've been doing, needs to be greater than the pain of change. So the pain that's involved in the changing process and learning process, and probably even redefining our processes. Only then we'll present. All right, so to recap what we've been going through, self-serve works perfectly fine for B2B as a sales channel, and it's here to stay and only will grow bigger. And there's the first mover advantage is right now, right here. There's many ways to sell online. Not everything needs to go up until the payment, or not everything needs to be looking the same like what, for example, the standard shopping cart commerce in consumer side looks like. The B2B side will be vastly different, and it's super important to consider how you could better let your customers self-serve. Email marketing is one of the easiest and best ways to improve your sales within B2B commerce. This is why you need to spend time and effort in making sure that you're actually being good at this. There's so good presentations coming along today after myself, so just pay attention and learn this valuable information. Also, the value doesn't need to come from discounts and campaigns, like I said, but from the help and information that you offer. Also keep in mind that the omni-channel sales strategy is the key to win, since B2B can be vastly different than B2C side. You don't need to be restrained to one channel or so. Also, launch your digital sales channel already today to reap the benefits. There's different ways that you can do this, but the most important thing is that you get started, because that's when you start getting the data in, and you're able to learn faster. All right. That's basically from my side on my behalf. So I'm super eager to see if there's any questions coming from you guys. Feel free to ask anything.
Thank you, Mikko. It was really eye-opening. Well, we are sitting on the hill of email marketing ourselves, so we cannot agree more with you. But we have one question and a few questions outside the chat. The first one is from Kelvin. What is, in your opinion, if you know, the best day and best time of day to send out newsletters to business customers? Do you have some kind of suggestions for that?
Yeah. So yeah. Best practices usually suck. That's my advice. So what is good for somebody else? So if I'm taking let's say, huge data set where, for example, there's like companies selling physical products to engineers. Their daily routines, their weekly routines might be totally different from selling IT equipment to ICT directors who are super busy and only buy, let's say, nighttime. For example, let me take an example. So we have few customers who are selling mostly to the SMB market. When do they get most of their orders in? Nighttime. It's everything from 6 p.m. until 2 a.m. in night. SMB companies buy like consumers. So these people actually do their daily job every day, and only after the standard working hours they start to, do the
chores.
Yeah, exactly. So first, don't listen to too much of the best practices. Obviously, there's stuff that you need to do right that goes, for example, for email deliverability and so on. But when it comes down to when to send emails, best way to figure out that is by listening to your customers, talking to them, researching that, trying to find what kind of daily routines or weekly routines they might have. And then the data will only show you that. So the data from the research and the data from your sent out campaigns, that's the answer.
All right. We also see that email marketing is one of the best, if not the best, channel to drive new sales for your current customers. But anyway, in business to business, you need to get new leads somewhere. Do you have suggestions how to get new leads? Because in business to business, this GDPR does not comply. And we see in our practice that some of the customers tend to collect scrape some leads from the internet, and this leads to abuse reports. This is not good. Those leads are not good anyway. But do you have suggestions, some nice tips how to get good leads? What to do for this?
Let's start with the obvious fact: don't spam. Don't fucking spam. Everybody hates the spammers. They are like the person who was bullying you in the school, and at the end of the day, you will get punished. So don't end up doing that. That's bad for your company. What I recommend is that the easy ones, the super easy tactics you can utilize, is that people are always looking for certain information. So for example, it's the pricing, whether it's your customer, so your company's pricing, your product's pricing, whether it's your competitors' pricing, whether it's comparing the alternatives or whatever that might be. There's a lot of comparison content that you can generate on your website that can actually get you high intent traffic quite immediately. And that's probably the easiest way to generate instant sales from a content that's of a high intent. Then about how to reach bigger audience, obviously you need to sell the problem that's there with the space that you're working in. So for example, let me take two examples. This is need to come up with two now, but okay. Forklift company selling us electric forklifts that can, whatever the innovation might be, if it's a great electric forklift that can lift more than your competitors, you should be telling like how that itself changes the warehousing or how fast that is, or how much actually time is lost on a daily basis for stuff that that causes. There's a lot of, you need to sell the problem, like I said earlier. Or if you're, let's say you're the occupational healthcare company, obviously what you're essentially selling is the ability for your workers to go to the doctor whenever they are sick. But you can try to switch that another way around. For example, the best thing is, or you shouldn't, as a company, you should be more interested in having your employees being super well-being and being able to work every day. It's no good that they get sick and you need to pay the doctor. That's actually the worst possible outcome out of this. So you can actually turn that other way around and start educating how you can improve the well-being of your people, how you can improve, let's say, psychological safety in your work environment, and how that has positive impact on how people deal within these stressful situations and stuff like that. There's all kinds of opportunities, but you just need to be a little creative. And obviously the content is going to play a big part. And then coupling that with the proper email marketing techniques and collecting emails from there, I think it makes all the sense in the world.
All right, we are coming. Questions are coming and coming.
Yes, question from Ari. How important is branding in B2B sales, like logos, Design, colors?
Yeah, I'd say that there's two sides of this. If I need to buy something and it's on my job's to-do list, I'm going to do it no matter what the site looks like. If it's a good experience is totally different discussion. And if you think that people, when they go to the work, they stop being human beings and start being more like machines, that's not true. So people prefer what's easy, what's convenient, what's fast. And it's actually one of the most dangerous misconceptions around B2B that people buy based on the cheapest price. No, people have their minimum requirements that the product or whatever needs to meet, and they might check the price, but you need to check those minimum requirements. And if you're able to sell higher minimum requirements, then you're able to sell higher priced products opposed to cheaper ones. But generally speaking, about brand, not branding, what stuff looks like and how you speak, but the brand, I think that the brand and reputation actually is one of the biggest possible differentiators that you can have. Because if you're able to, let's say at this point in time of the lives, if you're able to launch a self-service B2B sales channel where your customers can educate themselves and buy directly from you, that's what's actually going to make everything much easier for them. And that itself drives, how would I say, a kind of positive image of your company being one of the front runners and leaders in your industry. So positioning wise, there's a huge opportunity with brand.
Right, thank you. We are driving into our second speaker's time, but last question that we also usually tend to answer, it depends. Maybe you have something more to say. How many times is considered spam? I think it's mean that how many times per day or per week, per month you send emails?
Probably the same thing to the same person.
Yeah.
I think this is I wouldn't say that. Yeah, it depends definitely, but it is it's a twofold question. So as a consumer, it's you who's buying and it's you who's getting all the emails. But within B2B, like we discussed, it's probably not only you. It might be your boss as well. It might be your team. So there's multiple stakeholders that are involved in buying and purchasing stuff and goods and products and services. So I'd say that probably don't send too many emails per one person, but try to reach more people from the organization, because that's when you're going to have better support from the company and make sure that you have internal stakeholders. Now, whenever there's somebody stating that should we buy this from that place, there's like, okay, I know that place, they're good and I've seen their stuff and we're ready to go. Okay. I think that makes all the sense in the world.
Thank you, Mikko, again, very insightful.
Thanks.
And now, Magda Kolesinski, are you ready to take the stage?
I am. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much, Mikko, for a really insightful speech. I really enjoyed it. And I personally wish that a lot of B2B salespeople actually listen to you and lead with value and help rather than spammy emails. I think our daily lives and our inboxes would be much pleasant to deal with on a regular basis. So let me present my screen. Okay. Great. So I'll be talking about how to stop your emails coming into your spam folder, well, your recipient's spam folders. And I'll be mainly talking about this situation in a setup of an e-commerce or a D2C company. So before I start that, let me introduce myself a little bit. I'm Magda, and I'm the co-founder of a boutique email marketing agency. We're called KDV. And we work with e-commerce and D2C brands that are led with purpose, are led with heart. So they often don't play in the market with just the price, but they have a story to tell, and they have usually a mission to change the world for the better. Personally, I have over 15 years experience in growing such brands. Before I started my own business, I was part of startups and scale-ups and went through from early stages of these businesses to PE exits and other stages of growth of these businesses. So now what I do is help such brands create growth, but in a mindful and respectful way through email marketing. And while I'm going to be talking about deliverability today, I think it's important to mention that I am not a deliverability expert. And why I talk about it is because every day when I work with my clients, I actually help them make sure that they don't need one. So this is a sort of an early stage conversation about deliverability and why the concept matters to the e-commerce businesses and e-commerce brands. So today you'll hear a little bit about what deliverability is and why it matters to your brand, how to detect it, how to get closer to understanding how you're doing, how to build it, and how to build a strategy to make sure that your emails are landing where they're supposed to. And I'll tell you a little bit about the mistakes that we've seen that people do in all good faith. Okay, so before I even get into explaining the subject itself, here's a little bit about why I decided to talk to you about it today. So as I explained, the brands we work with are often brands that have a lot to say and have a purpose, and they very often think that deliverability issues don't really concern them. And here's what they tell us. Deliverability issues don't concern me because I never buy email lists. I just acquire email subscribers through very mindful tactics on social media and advertising and in events and so on and so forth. So these are real people. I'm not doing anything wrong. I don't need to care about it. Or my database is really small, so I don't really need to care about that either. Or I don't spam people. I only email them when I have something important to say. Or I don't use clickbaity tactics. I email from my heart. There's a real purpose in everything I say, and therefore I don't need to worry about it. Well, guess what? You do. Well, maybe you don't need to worry about it, but it's very helpful to have it front of mind when you're building your strategy. Being aware of the problem helps you prevent it. So, what is deliverability? And so deliverability is one of these terms that is annoying because there isn't a very clear definition. It is a metric, a measure, but it really isn't a metric in the sense that you can actually have a number somewhere. Any platform won't give it to you. It's a bit of a ghost hunting exercise. It tells you a little bit about how your messages reach and resonate with your audiences. But deliverability as a term is a sum of many factors. So it talks about the ability of your messages to reach your subscribers, your message relevance to these subscribers, the structure and content of your messages, their performance, and your sender reputation. So quite a bit. And again, the most important thing is there isn't a say, oh, what is my deliverability? You can track a lot of other things, but you can't track deliverability itself. And why it's so tricky, in order to understand it, I think it's helpful to sort of remind ourselves what journey an email needs to go through before it reaches your recipients. So we are at stage number 1. We as brands, we send our messages. We are the senders. We craft beautiful messages, beautiful emails. We usually use an ESP to send them. So this is a Smaily, this is a Klaviyo, this is a MailChimp. And then from there, it gets through to the inbox providers. So these are your Gmails, your Yahoos, your Outlooks, these sorts of things. And here is where the majority of the problem arises. So these things, inbox providers, have algorithms that are called spam filters. So they want to prevent spam messages to reach your subscribers, because guess what? We often forget about that fact. We think when we create emails, we think about our customers, our subscribers, and we feel that when we email them, this is what they see and what they hear. We forget that these customers are actually also customers of these inbox providers, and sometimes our interests are at conflict with these inbox providers. So in order to understand how we should really look at that deliverability, it's crucial to understand what these inbox providers actually have at heart. What is it that they want to achieve? So they want to achieve overall good customer experience for their customers. So if you think about you as a person using your inbox, what you count on your Gmail, your Yahoo, your Outlook, your whatever, is this thing not allowing spammy messages, not allowing harmful messages to get through to you, and you're counting on that. The thing is, you don't think about it much, but you do count on that. So in order for these inbox providers to do a good job, they actually try to protect you, they try to filter out these messages, and they constantly try to get ahead of spammers and ill-intended entities out there on the internet that want to send you some spammy or harmful or phishing messages. And how they do it is that they constantly learn and update. So they constantly scan and analyze the messages that are being sent to their users, and they learn from the interactions of those users what is being considered good, what is being considered bad. And so they try to further categorize these emails into transactional or genuine sort of human-to-human messages, or promotional, or in fact, spam messages. So promotion messages that we as users aren't really that much interested in. They're also they can also go further. They can refuse a message from entering your inbox, which is a bounce, and they can even blacklist you as a sender to say, look, we don't want to hear from these people anymore because our users are reacting really badly to what they're sending. So why is it important to understand how they work? Is because there's a lot of banter around deliverability out there on the internet of people who are trying to go around the inbox providers, the spam filters, try and understand how they work, the newest releases, try and trick things. I think this mindset really doesn't lead us anywhere. I think the best way to understand it is how you can work with them, because what they have at heart is creating a really good experience for their users. So if you work with them, you stand a much better chance of doing a good job. So how can you detect deliverability issues, or how can you tell if you might have a problem or if you're doing well or not? So as I said, it's annoying because there isn't one number that helps you, but in order to do this, you should track all of your standard numbers. So there isn't anything new on this table. This is a table with some benchmarks for key metrics in email marketing, and these, it's important to understand, just don't screenshot it just yet and don't print it, put it on your wall behind your screen. These marks that are very much relating to UK sector, e-commerce sector. So, and also within this, there's sectors of sectors. So it's important not to take this as Bible, because these metrics will vary from sector to sector, and most of all from country to country. But it's important to look at them with equal weight. So a lot of people think that open rates are absolutely the key to understanding your deliverability. So they think that if my emails are being opened, that means that people see them in the inbox, so they land where they look, and also I'm providing interesting content, they want to open it, so I'm great, I'm in the clear. That's not enough. It is a metric that is very important, but that's not enough. Click rates are becoming more and more important. So understanding what percentage of people that open your emails actually click in them is really super important to the inbox providers and to your sender reputation. This is especially important to those brands who have been so far emailing people in these good intentions of sharing valuable editorial content and never include any buttons in it. So while you may be providing a beautiful customer experience and people are looking forward to reading your emails, you're actually not doing yourself any favors, because in terms of the deliverability world, you need the people out there and the algorithms out there to be able to see that your emails are being clicked on, because that just shows engagement. So having this at the front of mind when you're building your strategy is super important, and measuring these click rates, measuring them against the benchmarks in your sector. Bounce rate, a lot of people don't really look at that, because usually the brands that we work with don't have that much of an issue because of the quotes that I mentioned, right? So they are mindful in terms of their acquisition, they know who they have on, they think they know who they have on their list, and they don't really pay that much attention to it. However, it's important to look at this, because now when we see digital advertising getting really, really expensive, people very often actually switch off their double opt-in at the sign-up point. So in order to show lower cost of acquisition of lead, they want more of these leads to come into their database, so they switch off their double opt-ins. So they are at risk of people misspelling their email addresses and therefore these emails bouncing. But also, if you have on the website your little pop-up saying I'll get 10% of your first order in exchange of your email address, very often people will fill that in thinking that the thank you page of that pop-up will give them the discount, so they don't really need to give you their email address. So they will type in something like I don't know at nobodycares.com, and here you go, you've got a bounce. So having that bounce rate at the front of your mind is really a helpful metric, because you can have the best intentions in the world, but people cannot care that much about you. So you need to have that bounce rate on your regular checks. It's also very helpful to look at your ESP. It normally gives you some little reports and information about why some of the emails bounced. So have a look at what you're using and what it gives you, what information it provides you. Obviously, the inbox providers will not go to town explaining why exactly every email bounced, because that would make it very easy for the spammers to actually detect how they work. This information will be relatively vague, but it's information you can often act on. Unsubscribe rate. This one is a very controversial metric. Very often from our clients, we hear things like, I don't want anybody to unsubscribe. I want everybody to be on my list forever. Well, this is really impossible, right? As humans, we fall in love with brands, we stick around, and then we move on, and it's a natural thing. And we as email marketers should allow that to happen. Hell, we as people do that as well. We fall in love, we stick around, and then we move on. So let's just accept that sort of situation in life, and let's make sure that we love our customers, and if we love them, let's let them go. Let's make sure that they can unsubscribe easily, and let's just watch why they do it. Let's make sure that our unsubscribe rates are low and that we understand why they happen, but don't ever block them, because that results in higher spam rates. So spam rates obviously is when somebody most likely can't find annoyed that you're spamming them, and they will report you as a spammer. So that is these are the metrics that you should all be looking at. And from my experience with purpose-driven brands, they often don't pay that much attention to the latter three. The first two, they're very much tuned into, because they understand that this is the part of the conversation they're having with their customers. But the latter three, they're like, not so much. So what I would urge you to do, if you have that deliverability aspect at heart when building your strategy, do keep an eye on those. Now, there's another curveball with all of this. So to those of you who have a link to the UK especially, or your database has a significant percentage of people using iOS devices, there was something called iOS 15 last year. And as much as it is being released gradually to the consumers out across the world, it actually messes up a little bit of what I just presented to you. So if your brand speaks to a significant portion of people using iOS devices as their go-to devices for email, please bear in mind that your open rates might be artificially inflated. So what, in very, like, read up on that. This is a completely big subject for another webinar, but basically what is happening is the iOS devices are downloading your messages and your ESP will see it as an open, even though somebody hasn't opened your emails. What happens if you go back to your little table here? You might be seeing your open rates skyrocket, and you'd be thinking, oh my God, my content is rocking. This is brilliant, right? But your click rates are falling. So again, we're going back to this whole subject of give them a reason to click and make sure these clicks are actually happening, because these open rates might be just an artificial thing that's happening because of iOS. So keep an eye on that. All right. So how do we build deliverability over time? So it is best to prevent that from that disease rather than go to the doctor and try and fix it, and work with deliverability experts who charge you an arm and a leg per day and per project. So if you want to build the deliverability aspect into your strategy, here's my top tips. So first of all, introduce a double opt-in. No matter how much it pains you to see this lower conversion into leads, it is really worth it. After all, if somebody doesn't want to give you their email address, they will not respond to your emails. So they will actually be one of that dead stock in your database. You're better off not having them in the first place. So focus on obtaining really good quality emails and have that double opt-in on your website. Segment your audience always. So again, people think that, oh, you know, I don't email that often. I email maybe every other week, maybe something. Why can't I just email my whole database? Well, you can't, because some of your customers there will not want to hear from you as often as you want to speak to them. So they will react to your emails differently. They will not engage with them that often. Some of them, on the contrary, will want to. So why not listen to your customer and do what they want to do? Engage with those who want to listen from you absolutely more often. Do that. Segment them, understand who they are, and speak to those who want to listen from you a little bit less frequently, and therefore your numbers overall will present themselves much better, and you will be considered a much more trusted sender. Have a clear CTA. So this, sometimes people think about, why do you even care about the CTA when talking about deliverability? Isn't that just content? Well, it is, but it's all about giving people a reason to click. Really, don't forget about putting those buttons in there, and make sure that it's actually clear just from the subject line what it is that you want them to do. So having that clear intention for every communication, every email is really super important. So especially in e-commerce, when all we want to do is sell through these emails at the end of the day and engage, we want to save people's time. We want to respect their attention. And so may that CTA be super clear from your subject line through the body of the email. May it be very, very clear why it is that you're bothering your customers with your email. So be sure to make it clear why you're emailing them, what you want them to do, and most of all, why they should care. Automate for great customer experience. Another controversial one. We speak to quite a few really mission purpose-driven brands who think that automated emails should only be those that say, thank you for your order, and maybe here's your order being shipped. And anything else that's automated is very cold, very sort of treating your customer as a number, not giving enough soul into your messages. Well, that actually isn't that true. Every brand has so many USPs, and there are different stages to the journey of welcoming the customer into your brand. So having consistency into easing your customers into your vortex, into your universe, is very often easier done through automated sequences than having to rely on your BAU campaigns to having all of these messages in every single message. Not to mention that if you did that, you wouldn't stick to the one CTA, clear CTA rule, because you'd just be throwing everything and the kitchen sink at it. So really use your automations to ensure consistent customer experience for everybody who flows through your database, regardless of which stage of their journey they're at. Personalize to boost your engagement. So this is another one. Imagine if you take your phone out and you blast 20 of your friends saying, come on, let's go clubbing. Well, how many of them do you think are going to actually feel that it is them you want to go clubbing with if you send a generic message out there? If you send them something like, hi, Jane, do you remember we went to this club? What a sick night that was. Let's do that again. Well, they will be very much likely to respond to that because they feel it's personalized. You can do the same with your customers because you have that data at your fingertips. Show your customers you know them and that you care about their experience. And in order to do that, you have a lot of tools to do that, but show them you understand which stage of the journey they're at, show them you understand which products they bought, whether they bought, and how you can help them. Another sort of super tactical one, but super important, make your unsubscribe button really visible and clear to find at the bottom of the email. Some people try and trick it, make the font really small. Some people try to do it like, you know, white font on white, or like trick people not to find that unsubscribe button and sentence your subscribers to being on your database forever. Well, that's really not great, because this isn't a great experience for your customers. If you love them, let them go. But on top of that, the inbox providers can actually detect it. Guess what? These algorithms actually can see if the font of your unsubscribe link is far smaller than the rest of your email, or if it's actually white on white, or whatever else tricks you might put on there. They can see it and they flag it. They assume that if you're tricking your customers into staying onto your database, you are up to no good, which you may not be. So make it easy to unsubscribe and clean your list. This is something, again, people don't want to do. They have this emotional attachment to every subscriber they have on their database, and they don't want to let them go. They want to email until, you know, death. Well, that's really not a great it's not a great tactic. Again, if you love them, let them go. Accept the fact that people move on, and you've had a good time, let them go. If you see people not engaging with you for a particular period of time, and this will be unique to your business. For some people it'll be 3 months, for some people it'll be 6 months, for some people it'll be 18 months, depending on the frequency of purchase, on the frequency of your communication. So it'll be unique to you, but do it every 4 to 6 months. Try and filter out those people who are really not engaging with you. Just let them go, suppress them, take them out of your database, have a clean slate, and focus on those that are actually with you. With this, the problem that I see very often is that people have these subscribers on their database, and they feel like, why aren't they buying with me? Can I have another win back campaign? What can I do to get their attention? And they focus their mental brain space, their resources, then they're focused on trying to revive somebody who's long dead and gone, instead of really focusing on giving your loving customers, your engaged one, the best you can do. So really remove those who don't want to be with you. Stay with the friends you want to be with. What to do if you think you might be in trouble? So before needing to go to a deliverability expert, you can see that your numbers are dropping, and you might be thinking, am I at risk with some of the inbox providers? Am I being flagged for some? Are some of my emails not maybe reaching the main inboxes? Well, there are a few tactics you can employ yourself, and you will know how to do this within your realm. So first of all, limit your sending to the most engaged users. This is painful because it means that you're not emailing most of your database, but it actually helps you rebuild your reputation as a sender. So identify those people who are most engaged, who buy with you, who engage with your emails, and for a while send just to those. Consider segmenting by inbox provider. So look at your ESP, whether it allows you to understand how people open and interact with your emails. So you can, whether you can segment them by Gmail, Yahoo, or whatnot, and understand where these problems are the biggest. So if you segment them like that and look at the numbers per segment, you're able to see which inbox provider you might be getting in trouble with. And then understand, when you've got that understanding, you can go on a little journey of gradually warming up those segments. So if you know where you're in trouble, you again start sending to just the most engaged people with your content that performed best, and then slowly build that up. And be patient. It takes time. It's not going to happen over a week or two. Be patient, because all of these algorithms, just as it takes time to damage your deliverability, it takes even longer to rebuild it. And while you do this, don't obsess. Don't get fixated on just that. Really focus on providing value to the customers who engage, who buy with you, and stay sort of, positive about the whole experience. I've seen so many people get fixated about the problems they encounter with just part of their database, and it really damages their relationship with the rest of the customers because they put so much energy and resource into fixing the problem rather than to playing to your strengths. So working with your customers that want to hear from you, that do engage, that do buy from you. So this is really, really important. Okay, so what are the most common mistakes when addressing deliverability? So we obviously chat to our brands quite a bit, and they tell us what they've been doing in order to address some of the issues they might be encountering. So I'm going to share, without names, some of the stuff that we heard and saw people do. So what not to do? Some people think that if your open rates are getting low, a way around it is to increase your email frequency. They think, oh, people might have not seen my emails, so I just need to email more frequently so my emails actually land in their inbox so they actually see it. Well, that isn't a good idea. If your deliverability suffers and you start emailing even more, you're just getting yourself into even more of a trouble. So really don't do this. Drive open rates at any cost. So people get into really sort of shady tactics with their subject lines. So I heard of people, brands suddenly reverting to subject lines like, this email was nearly stopped by Richard Branson, and they get opens. But obviously, it's not true. So your customers really will figure this out the second after they open that email, and guess what, they will not open your emails again, not to mention interact with them. So be mindful, stick to your soul and your purpose of the business, and just focus on helping your customers rather than just playing the game and driving the numbers. Don't ever buy qualified and engaged list of D2C customers. As much as there are potentially sources of B2B customers lists like this, D2C lists practically don't exist anymore. Be mindful of that. And if you buy those lists to compensate for the lower metrics, you'll just get yourself even more in trouble. And once again, don't ever remove your unsubscribe link, because this is just really, really bad practice. All right, so that's my tips on deliverability for brands. And I'd love to see you around on my LinkedIn or on my email if you want to chat. I'm open to questions now, but apart from that, do stick around on our channels and look out for our email marketing tips.
Thank you, Magda. It was really interesting for us also as an email service provider.
Yeah.
So thank you for those insights. We have a lot of questions, and we have some time. So stick around, you too, please. But there is a question from Annika. How can I see or investigate who is using what kind of inbox provider? Actually, we can answer that too. Most of email service providers give out this information. Okay, probably not per email, but it is possible to know. But maybe Magda, you know also some kind of tricks or tools for that.
So it really depends on your ESP. So best thing to do is to chat to the support of your email service provider and figure that out. There's so many tools out there, and depending on which one you use, there'll be ways to try and get closer to that.
Yeah, we are also showing let's say the most popular, what are the used, but by the percent, not by the contact. That I will send the email to Erkki, and then I looked at, all right, Erkki is using Gmail app in his
Android phone version, that and that.
Yeah.
Basically, this is possible to get from the database directly. Yeah. But you said about iOS 15 that the open rates might not be that relevant anymore. But what about auto clickers in B corporations? I know there are like some kind of like tools who click through all the links to get malicious or phishing links in advance of the customers. This also like diverts a little bit of the data or like makes it not that right.
That's absolutely true. And to be honest, the brands that I work with who are small to medium, they don't really have that much control over these things. So what I can always say is these things will be happening. And as much as, you know, you have that double opt-in, you have your website protected, and you do all the right things, and you really focus on serving your customers, these metrics should not sway too much. I mean, if you see your metrics change, obviously it's time to speak to a specialist. But I wouldn't worry about it too much if you're not, if you're a small to medium brand and you're doing all the other things right.
Okay. There is a question also about testing tools, for example, Quillbot or Mail Tester or Clock Apps. You probably have heard about those. If technically everything is correct,
It's like
then it's
10.
10 points out of 10 possible. Then anyway, content is also, I think, a lot the thing to be considered, right, about deliverability, not just the technical part of the email. So content is also important.
Absolutely. So test your emails, use whatever tools help you. Absolutely. From the technical perspective, you know, any broken links, anything that doesn't render properly, all of that stuff is super important. But what is most important is to understand what you're actually trying to do through this. So you're trying to connect with your customers. So what you send them, how it reads, what language you use, what images you use, this is the most important thing. And as Mikko said, this, you know, best practice won't help you there. You've got to do the work to understand your customers and understand what they're looking for in your emails. And that job is not going to be done for you by anybody else. So, and this is what actually makes people interact. So how relevant your message is to your consumers, how embedded they are in your world, and how much they understand what you stand for, how much they care, and all of that comes down to content.
Okay, I have one question. You told all about those tabs and the promotional tab.
Yes.
So what we are hearing from our clients that, oh, that's bad, is going to the promotional tab, no one gonna read it, I want it to the inbox. But
yeah,
it's not true, I hope.
Well, unfortunately, Gmail is being Gmail and Outlook and whatever uses the tabs right now. They're becoming really, really smart, and they are actually putting marketing messages into the promotions tabs, because if you think about it, this is where they belong.
Yeah, exactly.
And if we, again, it comes down to the role of that inbox provider. They are trying to give us as users the best possible experience. So I want to be able to see my mother's email or my friend's email or my you know, work things or things that I really care in my main inbox. And you can always move, and a lot of people do that, right? They have that thing at the bottom or at the top of their email. Oh, if you love these emails, move them from the tab so you can get them. You could do that, but people will start doing this if they care enough. But also people more and more often actually interact with promotions tabs. It's just another way of mindless scrolling, you know, instead of going to your Instagram, they have a coffee break at work and they just scroll what grabs their attention. So the fact that something goes into your promotions tab doesn't mean that it never gets seen. If people mindfully sign up to brands, they want to hear from them. That's the beauty of email marketing. It's consent-based. We're not spamming anybody. It's people who are on our database should be people who with their free will signed up to hear from us, right? So they will be looking for those emails from your brand. And if you do email regularly, you will be seen from even if you're in that promotions tab. One thing is interesting on that front. We've recently had a case of a client who was desperately trying to get into the main inbox, and usually when you've got an e-com store, you tend to have two different senders domains for your transactional emails and your promotional emails. And this is done to protect the transactional emails from landing into your promotions folder, right? So if you get emails, oh, your order gets delayed, or thank you for your order, and here's your details, and here's how to get your refund. So those vanilla standard things that we don't pay that much attention to, but we very much rely on, they land into your main inbox. And one of our clients was trying to sort of play a game a little bit, and they tried to include a little bit more of that marketing banter into those transactional emails, and they've ruined their deliverability. And it was really a big problem, because you know, that just accept how people want to interact with these messages. When they want just a confirmation that they've purchased from you, don't try and get them to buy again. Like, look, they've just purchased, and they're relying on that clean information that's super helpful, timely, and relevant to where they are in the journey. So don't ever mess around with your transactional emails.
Yeah, we also have like experience with when Gmail introduced this promotional tab. At first, it was years and years ago. Then all of the marketers were so upset. Oh my God, no one reads my emails anymore. But it like bounced back really quickly, because people who waited for those emails, they went and found them in the promotional tab. But anyway, you are competing with those other promotional emails in this tab. And the only thing that gets to open the email is the subject line. If you segment, as you said, if you target like really personally, then it gets the attention, and I will open it in the promotional tab also anyway. So yeah, it's not a bad place to be.
And then I'm using this, hey, I'm Richard Branson. Erkki, how are you?
And this is the last time I'm going to open your emails.
Yeah, but on that, you know, there's one thing that we often talk to our clients about is a regular schedule of communication. This is another thing that helps your customers find your emails. If you provide consistently good value and a balance between sales and editorial content, value-led, helpful content, and if you have a day in a week that you send, say Friday lunchtime, this is when your emails come out, and people really like to receive them, they will start looking out for them. So this is another pull. So you don't have to rely on your subject lines that much, because people will actually look forward to, and I'm sure that all of us here have our favorite newsletters, marketing newsletters. We know when they come out. We want to hear because we like what it gives us, right? And here's an example of, you know, when you provide good content and good experience, and it's not about the numbers as such, but it's about the service that you provide to your customers. Email is just a tool to deliver it. So when you don't get hung up on the numbers so much, but you get hung up on serving your customers, the numbers turn on its own. Yeah.
All right. It seems that there are no more questions. So thank you again, Magda, for a very insightful presentation. We will learn from this also a lot. And now we welcome on the stage Svitlana.
Yeah, let me share my screen. I also want to thank Magda for such inspiring and such energetic, you know, speech, because it's just whoa. Let's continue talking about email marketing, but I want to talk about interactivity and how it could help you to engage with your customers, to boost engagements with your customers. And from the beginning, let me introduce myself. My name is Svitlana. I'm head of retention marketing department at Promodo. More than 6 years I'm working in email marketing, and I'm just a big fan of it. Yes, you can see. And I have a lot of projects, and let me see why. Because Promodo is a Ukrainian and global internet marketing agency. We work from since 2004. We have offices all around the world. We have clients all around the world, and we have clients from not only Ukraine, but as you can see, we have international companies also. Most of companies are e-commerce, so most part of my experience is for e-commerce marketing, but I also have some clients from B2B and also from product companies and even medical clinical centers. So I can share with you some ideas in different areas. We work with different ESPs and DP platforms. We love one of them more than others, but we use all of them. So let's get started with email marketing. Stop talking about myself and my company. Yeah, let's talking about our main theme for today. And yes, I offer to discuss a theme about interactivity, but I want to start with list growth. I think that it's essential part of what are you doing with your email marketing, because if you want to contact with your emails, yeah, you should get them. So who is your subscribers? Where can you get them from? How to collect more and more and more? As we usually think that, okay, we have our shopping cart, yeah, we have our checkout, so maybe we have some subscription form in the footer of the website, so it's enough. Yeah, we have some emails, we can contact with them, we can maybe try to keep in touch with them as long as possible, but there are some more possibilities, a lot more possibilities, how you can increase your mailing list and also increase your income as well. So there are a lot of different forms you can use on your website. And of course, you can say that you don't like pop-ups, you don't like some windows you see on the screen, but it works. Yeah, and it works as well as for desktop devices and also for mobile devices. Of course, we have some requirements from Google as well, yet to not even requirements, but some notifications about what should be, what the size of pop-up form should be on the mobile devices. Yeah, but still, it's it works really cool, and and you can see it in several slides. So the first and the lovely one type of form, it's pop-up with a launcher. And in this situation, you have a little button here in some corner of your website, for example, the left bottom side, like on this example, and with clicking on this button, you can see this pop-up with some offer, some promo code, or maybe just suggestion to subscribe to getting newsletters. And as you can see, I added this comment to the slides. This pop-up with a launcher will be shown only for new visitors. So don't be afraid that if you're using this such type of form for collecting your data, it will interrupt your users. No, you can customize it as well as you want. Yes, so you can use it only for new visitors, and you should use it only for new visitors. And you also can test some different offers that you can add to your form. And also this type of form has not the biggest one subscription rate, but the subscription rate is really high, and it's from our experience with clients is the best way to the easiest and the best way to get more emails. Another type of pop-up with a launcher is with former effect. Yeah, when you use some timer, when you use countdown timer, yeah, when you use some offer that will be ended in several hours or days and so on. Or for example, you can use such type of pop-up just for some occasion. For example, Black Friday. Yeah, Black Friday is coming. We'll be the first who will subscribe to this news. Or for example, for if you plan to conduct some webinar, for example, yeah, you can create a pop-up with this countdown timer and just say that subscribe to be the first to take a seat, yeah, and so on, and our webinar will be start in and show the time. Also, this type of form pop-up with a launcher could be customized in the way when the customer don't have to click on the button. Yeah, this pop-up could be shown, for example, in 5 minutes after page is loaded. Of course, the time will be will depend on the average session on your website. It depends on the activity of your customers. It depends on a number of pages each customer view, but this kind of pop-up is also great. Another way to get emails to your database, it's a floating bar. You can use it for different pages in different design. You can use also different mechanics for example, for different users. If you know that your potential customers come from Facebook, and you know that they don't like any other pop-ups, then you can use floating bar. And for example, for those guys who come from paid advertising, you don't use pop-up, you don't use floating bar, you just use some inline form. Yeah, just don't interrupt from the order because from purchasing. Yeah, because you know that all paid advertising is not so cheap, so you can just save your money. Yeah, and don't miss the UTM, yeah, don't miss the channels, the source of the order. So just combine different types of forms for different users. And for example, also you can use different type of forms for different pages as well. Not only depends on UTM, but also depends on the content of on the page. For example, if you are talking about product card, you also don't want to interrupt users with some pop-up windows. Yeah, but you can use as well some floating bar or inline form. One more example of how to collect emails, but with interactivity. Yeah, it's like pop-up quiz. It could be not only pop-up, it could be just separate page, landing page, yeah, where you can go through from some button, for example, or from some posts in blog. But what is it? This type of of pop-up you can use to collect more information about your customers. For example, if we are talking about jewelry, some user come to the website and we offer them to answer several questions. What is the color of your iris? What is the size of your finger? What is the metal you like more? I mean, gold, silver, and so on. What is the color of metal do you like? Yeah, because we know that even gold could be yellow, red, white, and so on. And for example, we can ask for some categories if he or she interested in something right now, or just skip this question. And as the first step, you have email of this user, yeah, and then you just offer to answer some questions. And for those users who answer these questions, you can personalize your content. Yeah, you can just create a letter, an email with products which will be interesting to this user. You know their color eyes, you know their like, you know the size they are looking for. So you can just put all these items that are relatable to these answers and just send. And it's cool because you just don't ask subscribers, just subscribe and so on, or subscribe and we will notify you with some news, we will notify you about some promotion and so on, so on. And you just, you know, just engage your visitors, engage your customers from the first time being on your website. And as I said before, you can use also other types of pop-ups. It's another example is floating box, and they are often used to on some category pages, yeah, which with content which depends on the category name or category picture. You can personalize it. Yeah, for example, you came to the marketplace and you just looking for some, for example, let it be some cheese. Yeah, I'm not sure why I'm talking about food, but let it be. You're looking about for some cheese and you're on the page with different items in this category, and then you see the pop-up form and some offer for this cheese, not for this cheese that you are looking for, but you have some promotions, for example, in this category, and you can show it, and you can offer to subscribe to another offers, yeah, and you just get this email and also offer some promotion. So you just can improve the conversion rate of this subscriber or this visitor who was on your website. And also pop-up you can ask, you can use to collect NPS. Yeah, of course, in this case, you don't need any email addresses, but I want to show you that this is a good way just to ask if user like your website and or not, and if like for what, and if doesn't like also for what. And it could be customized for those customers who already did order on your website, then come up again on your website, and you can show them this little window, yeah, and just ask what they like or not. Or for example, if you offer some promo code to this customer before, yeah, maybe for example a week ago, you can ask why and this customer didn't use this promo code, so you can ask why they don't use it. Maybe they want another one for another categories, for another items, and so on and so on. And another example of pop-up and for getting new emails is shopping cart catcher. Yeah, of course, you know about shopping cart or abandoned cart emails. Yeah, but if you don't have email of this visitor, or if this visitor inactive in emails, for example, yeah, how you can catch up them? And they come to the website. So it's a great opportunity just to catch up with these customers and say, hey, look, you leave some products in your shopping cart. You can offer maybe some promo code, or maybe it could be without promo code. It's up on you, of course. And it also depends on the activity of the customer. But it could work. For example, I have some real case from our client, and with using this pop-up with abandoned cart, we can get 30% extra conversions from abandoned carts. So of course we have set up trigger like abandoned cart, but with adding this pop-up, we just get to those customers who was without emails or who was inactive in emails, and we get more and more conversions, and it works. Of course it works. And I also want to say that for this type of pop-ups, for this type of interactions with your customers, you of course should use another way how to check if the order was or wasn't, because if you use only UTM and based on last click analytics, it won't be the best way to analyze the effectiveness of such type of activities. I tell you why, because mostly of this pop-up will be shown to users who come from another channels, from another sources, and your pop-up could be some trigger who motivate user to done this purchase, but it could be not this. So just use another way to check the analytics. And also this you can use pop-ups not only about abandoned items, you also can recommend some new items, some related products to your customers. It could be products that are familiar to similar for those customers saw before, or it could be some best sellers, best price, hits, some new arrivals, or some, for example, if the previous order of the customer was, for example, mobile device, then you can offer some accessories or something like this. So using the effective subscription forms with relevant offer will allow you to get even 5 times more emails, and even more, as I can say, because it depends not only about what mechanic do you choose, what offer do you choose, and it also depends on the audience. So also analyzing the effectiveness of some form, you also should analyze the effectiveness of the audience, from what source they came, from what UTM, from what channel, and you can also notice that it could be different conversion rate, subscription rate for different sources. And it's not all what we can use for list growth, because previous examples was just not so dynamic and interactive as we want. And I want to tell you about some gamifications which can be used in such type of tasks. So the first example is spin to win. I'm sure you know all about it. You can put your email and just spin the wheel and just get some promo code or lose for maybe some reason. Of course, it could be for losing also, but it's a good way just to take all emails, and it's a good interactivity. You just don't need to you don't need to offer subscribers, just subscribe and get your promo code. You can just offer them play some game, and it's cool. And this type of activity has subscription rate much more than previous forms example, and of course it could be implemented as a pop-up, as a landing page, as inline form on your website. So it's just the mechanic you can use in different type of forms. Another example is scratch to win, and you can use just trick. A little trick. You can use just GIF animation, and just when some user click on some button, you just lower this GIF and show the promo code or show the gift. Or you can use, of course, coding with JavaScript. It could be done, and you can even customize when user go through this area with closed area. You can customize with JavaScript that user move their mouse, and this area going to be open, and some gift will be shown. So it's up on you. If you have some extra extra developers hours, you can use coding. If you don't, you can use GIF. Another way of gamification is one of three, or boxes of chest, or you can say it like you want. The main issue is just user click on one of several boxes, for example, and get something. You can adjust these boxes design and content for some occasion for your website. For example, if you're talking about let's see, let it be, for example, for New Year. Yeah, it's in December. You can use such type of activity and design these boxes as gift boxes, yeah, or some trees, and you should find some gift under the tree. So it could be everything what you want. And another way to engage with your customers, and this type of activity, I tell you, they take time of all your customers just to spend time with while playing, and so on. We did such type of games for our clients, and we analyze the activity of our customers. Of course, they buy more and the conversion rate were higher, but the main issue is that we analyze that there are some users who were in this activity, on this page of activity, and play for more than 20 hours. I'm not sure it was right, 20 hours for just for the one day. I hope that it wasn't the situation like this, but yeah, we see such type of activity, and all of us, even when we are adult, yeah, we like playing. We have some games on our phones, so we are like a big children. So yeah, let your customers also just feel this childhood. And if we're talking about such type of a gamification for mailing list growth, I also have such a good result, as I can say. And for one of our online market of electronics and household applies, we use a lot of different types of gamification. It was also spin to win, and it was scratch card, and so on. It doesn't depend on the mechanic you choose to use. Yeah, it depends, as I can say, on the offer, on the audience, on the traffic you can say you can get on your website and on this page for playing. But from our experience, we use this mechanic for almost a month. Yeah, it was active for almost a month, and for this period, we get 8 times more new subscribers than we get before. And I have to notice that before this gamification, we also had different types of forms. So we didn't just hope that we get all emails from orders. Yeah, we of course used different type of forms, but when we start using this type of gamification, we just get more and more emails, and we of course get more and more revenue from our emails, from our newsletters, and also from our subscribers. It was 15% more than the previous period. And of course, we when we are talking about these results, we didn't compare, results after Black Friday, yeah, and just some sleepy season in summer. No, we just analyze the same period, the same situation, yes, the same occasion. And the next part after you can get all your emails, yeah, you can you can collect all these customers, all visitors who came to your website. The next step is what you should say to them, what you should send to them, what should be the design of your letter, and how it could be done. So from our side, we realize that when you just don't have such view of how your emails should look like, you don't get your awareness, because for your customers, emails from you should be awareness. Yeah, they should know that it's you. They should be in some, of course, they should be connected. Their design should be connected with the design of your brand, but they also should be, you know, like a separate part of your brand strategy, because when we are talking about branding for a website, yeah, you almost don't have any requirements. Yeah, you just don't have any borders. You just can do what you want. But when we are talking about emails, of course, we have some requirements from our post services. Yeah, we can't use all type of fonts, for example. Yeah, or we can't or some of post services, for example, can't describe pictures on the background and so on, so on. So as a first step, when you're starting doing your emails, sending your emails, we offer to create an email guideline, and we prepare a list of all settings that should be done and should be used in your mailings. We design all possible blocks that could be used in your newsletters. For this, of course, we need to analyze your audience, to analyze your product, to analyze what you would like to send to your customers. It would be only promotional mailings, or it would be some, I don't know, content mailings. Yeah, and for example, you understand, yeah, you realize that in future it would be great just to add some blog with articles, yeah, from your blog, and we analyze it on the beginning and just create this whole email guideline with all possible blocks, with all possible settings, fonts, colors, buttons, and we also analyze it and use these common features, but we just compare how it will be look in dark mode, in white mode, and so on. And this guideline also help us to not only increase in click rate and so on, because we create a good city call to action buttons. Yeah, we design blocks just to keep in touch with our customers, with our subscribers, to get them their attention, to engage them through all our emails. Yeah, but it also creates a visual style and awareness. And for marketers, it also reduces the time that you need to spend to prepare some emails. And for this such good part of email guidelines, I want to also go further. As I said before, you should think about dark mode, because not all of our subscribers, but part of them use dark mode on their mobile devices, and you can analyze from your services what mode they use. So your letters, your emails should be looked correctly, also both in white mode and in dark mode. And as you know, Gmail and Outlook, they invert font color, button, and background color, depending on white mode or dark mode. So just test how your email looks like. And also don't forget about some interactivity in your emails. Yeah, you can use some, of course, you can use some GIF animation in your mailings, but everybody use it. Yeah, you want to use something more, you can use it. And if we're talking about interactivity in mails, the first thing you should think about is AMP in emails. It's a dynamic content which can be used in emails. And this type of activity is a trend now. Yeah, it could be a trend for many years. So just don't forget about it. Just remember and try to use it. And what it is? It is a dynamic contact which could be shown in Gmail, Yahoo, the applications. Yeah, and if it's on in your settings, you can just interact with your letter without going to another place, to another website, to another landing page, and so on. How we used it before? Yeah, when we want to get some feedback from our customer, we send them a letter that for B2B, we ask just to answer this letter, this email. Yeah, just same few words, how it was, how was the word, do you like it or didn't. If we are talking about e-commerce, we just sent a letter with some items that were in the purchase, and for each product, yeah, we ask just leave a feedback, and from button we lead to our website, yeah, to the product card, to the product page. But it means that we ask our users to do 2 actions. Yeah, just and it is without opening our email. Yeah, they open email, then they should click in our letter and our email, and then they should scroll up all these pages of item, all description, and leave a feedback. It's a long way, yeah, for users, and we can use this AMP, this dynamic contact, in our emails, and just to get this feedback right in the letter, and you don't need to go anywhere, just text here and submit. And for example, we also use another way of AMP in emails, because we have a lot of mechanics which could be used. Another way is this carousel with different offers. When you create this email, you just have to analyze, yeah, how many offers we can add to our email. And then you realize that, whoa, I have so many offers. I want to use all of them, but I can't, because my letter will be too long and too heavy and will be cut in Gmail. I don't want to do it. But you can use such type of AMP, such type of dynamic contact, and just use a carousel, and the user just can switch to that offer that it's interesting for him. Another example of interactivity is also the good one. As you can see, we use it a lot of time and for different occasions. It's puzzles, and you can just divide your picture in several parts. It could be 9, 16, and so on. It depends on what you want to get. You can design it according to the occasion, according to your website or the offer you can offer to your customers, and just subscribers can just do puzzles in the letter without not going anywhere. And after the puzzle is done, you can show some promo code for these customers. Yeah, and it could be also promo code with countdown. It's depends on what you want to offer. As you can see, we design our puzzles due to New Year and also due to St. Valentine's Day, but it could be even some puzzle for you can use such type of activities not only for promotional mailings. Of course, you can use it, for example, when you want to say happy birthday to your subscriber. Yeah, you can use some such type of activity, and it could be even better without some promo code, just some activity, such a good thing to engage your subscribers. Another way, when you also want to add more and more items to your emails, and you don't want to make decisions what type or what color of, for example, code, yeah, you should add to the letter, or what color, what size, and so on. And you can create the same card as you can see on the website. You can create the same card in your emails, and they're interactive. Yeah, you can just choose the right size. You can choose the color you want to buy or to check. Yeah, and you also can offer to your customers more and more possibilities to without this, just guessing what color would be great if I great sweater in my emails. It would be less click rate than if I put pink one or not. With this activity, you don't need to make some such type of decisions. Yeah, just use all of items and their possibilities. And again, spin to win, and you use it in also in emails, and you don't need to create another landing page here on as a pop-up. You just send your customers some letter and offer them to spin the wheel and get some items, or get some promo codes, get some offers. And also mechanic is the same as we see for gamification on the website, yeah, on your main page, but it's just used in emails and don't need to go anywhere. But there always should be some but, yeah, for AMP emails, and for this type of interactivity in emails, we have some requirements for using this such type of activity. And as I can see from our projects, not all of customers turn on this dynamic content in Gmail, for example. Yeah, if we're talking about Gmail, it's not on automatically, for example, for our subscribers, and not all of them turn on it. So what should be done with what could we do with interactivity in case if our subscribers do not turn on dynamic content in Gmail? There are still some possibilities to interact with your customers, with your subscribers. For example, you can use rollover effect just to, for example, hide some hide some products, or also doing the puzzles, but the easiest, yeah, one of them, but it also could be used. And another way of interactivity is some rebus, where you should count something, yeah, guess what cup should be would be full up first, and so on, so on. So it just of course, it's the easiest way just to interact with your customers. You don't need any, any coding. You don't need any additional some opportunities like AMP, yeah, or turn on dynamic content. But you can use it in your emails. And as we can see, we had a lot of opportunities. We can send a lot of emails, and we can stop. Yeah, we can send more and more and more. And just to be sure that you have enough time to sleep and eat while you are providing your company with these emails, you just need to use some time-based automation triggers, of course, just to save your time and automate what it could be automated. The first example of the automation, of course, is onboarding for new subscribers, or somebody calls it welcome scenario, yeah, for new subscribers. And I'm sure you know about it, but let's quick check about what you know about onboarding for new subscribers. So when some new subscriber leave their email, you can just set up some scenario, yeah, with several emails, and tell them about your company, offer some personalized offer, or maybe tell about possibilities on your website or with your product, yeah, what you should offer for this customer, and so on, so on. Of course, it's a good part of the welcoming of new subscribers, but I also want to show you another example how we use welcome scenario for to increase our conversion from new subscribers into our customers who did purchase. I want to show you such type of an example. We have some client who sells animal food, and on our pop-up form, we also ask our subscribers what type of pet do they have. And according to, it depends on the answer we get, cat or dog or some other animal, we just customize this welcome like some comic books, you know, what your pet are doing while are you at work, for example. Yeah, and I'm sure that for all type of businesses, you can find something interesting, interactive, and some information that not could only be useful for your customer, but could be some interesting, and awareness. Because if we're talking about welcome scenario, we are talking about new subscribers, new visitors whom don't know about you a lot, and you can show them who you are. And if we're talking about pets, as we know, pets always are hungry, and you can't forget to feed them, yes, because they always ask you about it. But what you can do if you forget to buy some food, for your pet? And for this type of situation, let's take care of not pets but customers, just to be sure they don't forget to buy enough food for their pets. And another way of automation, when we are talking about, for example, such type of client with animal food, some user buy pet food, gets this transactional email about what they bought, and then we can analyze what was the weight of this package, and for what number of days it will be used. For example, if we are talking about the small package, it would be enough for 3-4 days, so you understand then in 2 days it could be a good way just to remind your subscriber that, whoa, you don't have enough of food for your pet, just buy one more. And such type of scenarios, such type of reminders could be used not only for food, it could be used for food for human, and also for diapers, washing powder, vitamins, and so on. So for even each area, you can use such type of reminder. If we're talking, for example, about electronics, it's good just to set up some reminders. But what we should do if we have a customer who bought one more new iPhone, and they don't want to get one more, so just we can offer some accessories, some new gadgets, some stuff from another categories, which could be interesting for this customer. And if you also have some product with subscription, you also find something to remind about your customer. For example, you can remind about update subscription, about upgrade subscription plan, about some new lessons should be done, some workouts, and more. For each area, we can find a way to remind about it. And as you can see, we also automate a lot. And if you set up more and more trigger flow, you need to create a trigger map just to be sure you know all the funnel of your subscribers from the first day, from the first moment when they come to your database, and then what users should get in case of some active or inactive activity or inactivity. For example, you should it's a good it's a good way to start build this user flow from the beginning of your project. But still, if you have some project, you can just summarize what you have for now and build a trigger map. So another problem, of course, when we have a lot of emails, we have a lot of trigger flows, that our customers get much more emails that they want to get. So it's essential just to use consent and preferences, and it's also could be used not only for categories of our of the content what they want to get, and it also could be used for set up what kind of channels user want to get a notification through, and also of course how often they want to receive your emails, maybe even when. If we are talking about B2B, we also want to ask them the day which is more appropriate for them, and also the time which is more appropriate for them, and just use this information to customize. Of course, not all of customers answer these questionnaires, but for those active customers who want to answer your questions, you should be it would be a kind decision from your side just to ask them and use this information. And of course, you can use dynamic contact to set up such type of questionnaires without leading your subscriber to another page. Just leave a comment right in the letter. Okay, we got about automation, performance, about design and how to collect our emails. What about performance? Does it work good or not, and so on? And for our forms and source generates, we just should analyze which type of source generates more leads, and which type of form generates more leads. And you can use such type of dashboard. You should build such type of dashboard and analyze what form what would be the best one. And also you can use some dashboard to analyze your A/B testing of this form, of the quantity, of the mechanics, and so on. And for those people who come from one source, you also should analyze the funnel, I mean the scenario of trigger emails, of what how many subscribers do you get in the beginning, and how many of them confirm subscription and then maybe fill up questionnaire, how many of them do the first order, and so on. And also it's a good practice to collect all information about your customers, all as possible, as more as possible, and sort this data and analyze this data, and just use this data in future. For example, for your customers, it could be great to analyze for each channel you use to contact with your subscriber, with your customer, just leave this information about when was the last activity in emails, for example, when last time he or she clicked in through your emails, and so on. And you also can collect information about activities and purchases, not only in promotional mailings or emails as well. You can collect information about preferred categories, about the amount of revenue in such of categories, amount of transactions, date of last transactions, and so on. And according to this information, you will be able to set up to automate your trigger flow. And of course, it's a joke, don't forget about open rate, but if we're talking about some interactivity and so on, we are not talking about open rate. We should analyze our effectiveness in a way of cohort analysis, and you can see, you can build this cohort analysis as well as for monthly base and for daily base, and to analyze what is the repeat purchase frequency is, which is normal, which is not. You can just find out what, for example, if you have some decrease in activity of your customers from the first months, or for example, you can see that some customers who did this their first purchase on Black Friday, they didn't do another purchase, and you can see that maybe they didn't like something, maybe they just don't need any items, and so on. And for example, from my experience, we have some insight for our client when we notice that customers who do their purchase on Sunday, they churn even more than another one. And then we analyze the work of our support, with our delivery team, and just analyze that there were some things that should be done better. So you can do more and more in email with interactivity, with getting new emails, with automation, and of course with analytics. And let's stay in touch. Thank you for listening, and let's talk about your questions.
Thank you, Svitlana. It was absolutely great. I have a couple of questions. So, do you have measured where to add the pop-up or subscription form? From where coming most of subscriptions?
You mean the source of the audience? Yeah, just paid advertising, or you mean the place on the website?
Place on the website.
Place on the page. Okay, for mostly projects, we saw that this form in the footer, doesn't work well, but we have some projects that instead of this, they have a lot of subscribers. For us, the main, for our clients, the main and the most efficiency type of form is, of course, the pop-up with a launcher, and launcher we placed in the right bottom or left bottom, depends on the other objects on the website. For example, if you have online chat on your website and it placed on the right bottom side, so it could be the bad idea just to use this pop-up with a launcher also on the right side. But you can use another one. And also we have some clients who has another buttons, just call back, online chat, and so on. And we understood that one more button would be too much for our visitors. In this case, we use Topper, and for them, they works better.
Okay. If I may, I can share here in the chat one article. You can look at afterwards. We talked with one who studied, actually, it's a lot, and they did this test that they also used it in the footer, but afterwards they put it on the header, and they saw 46% of a rise of the amount of subscribers. There is some logic and numbers. Okay, you showed this this interesting thing about gamification. Hello. Is anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. It looks like internet connection is from his Svitlana.
Okay, but last but not least, Dmitry, the stage is yours. And if Svitlana comes back, I will ask all those questions afterwards.
Okay, so can you hear me? Let me
Yeah.
share.
And good.
Can you see my screen at the moment now?
Yeah.
Great. So my session is final and very ambitious because of we are speaking about the future. Nobody knows where is the future, and it's Svitlana return back. What you would like to finish?
I will ask afterwards.
Okay. So Svitlana, sorry, it was a connection problem, and we moved to my session, and then we will together maybe answer for question about the gamification. And yes, prediction is a very hard thing. So I will share with you my own ideas and what we do to make our bright future faster and better. But before I start, just 2 words about me. I am Dmitry Kulik, and I am CEO of Striper. Striper is email design platform. But earlier, 20 years ago, I'm kind of a mathematician. So I graduated applied mathematics. All I did in my life was about the mathematics, programming, and do algorithm. And one of the systems we did was about marketing automation. And the system was eSputnik. It was a system for local, started from local Ukraine market and then scaled to global. So what we did, we gathered data about the users from all the sources, from a site, from mobile application, from behavioral email, from purchase history, and use this data to send the right message to the right moment of time, and so on. So I started to work in this industry more than 10 years ago, and we were focused on developing tools for marketers. And these tools, just very quick to first is a Striper. Striper is email design platform, just how to build emails fast. Another system we do for marketing automation, it's what I said, it's Jesper for global market, mostly for optimizing the businesses who are focusing on the web. Or if you focus on mobile sales, it's a retainer. I also have a product for building any kind of forms and pop-ups. Okay, a lot of products. I just want to prove that we are in industry for a lot of time, and it's why I investigated a lot. Where is the future? What should be next step? How market would be transformed? And I want to share with you my ideas here based on few examples. So when we speak about the future, we all have to understand future for who, because of I like the picture in a slide. We will focus mostly on vendors, on marketers, because of for recipients, the biggest question, are emails still alive? Or maybe it's not for teenagers. To be honest, I have very quick questions here that emails, yes, live, and he will be alive, I think, forever, but also users would use different channels as well, and still using, but email would be changed. There are a lot of attempts to change how email works. You know, Gmail added interactivity in email using the AMP or promotional tabs, or how it works in mobile. Apple did their own things, Microsoft trying to do action scripts, a lot of things. We can discuss this later. But in my session today, I will focus mostly on view for marketers and vendors, how management will be changed. And to understand the future, we have to analyze how it was the last, decade. And I see the evolution like in 4 steps. First, it was senders, just email service provider. You know that a lot of people who was ESP, email service provider, became to name themselves like every channel service provider. So they don't want to use email because of email is like pretty narrow. But nothing changed. We want to send the right message to the right person in the right moment of time, using the right channel with the right frequency and right. So everything started with just sending and analyzing the results. The next step was marketing automation. Okay, we can send. And now we have our own algorithm, our own flow, how to build dependencies. And we can define the rules, how to send emails, where we'll just split our flow. But the more channels, the more segments, the more rules, the more data you have to define more complicated things. I don't know, if you support multi-language, you have to split for languages. If you do A/B testing, you have to split all these languages into several variants. If you do, I don't know, just deep segmentation, a lot of things you have to think about. And after that, it became another like step of how people think about advanced marketing automation. And they call it customer data platform. We're not speaking anymore about sending and automation. We're speaking about the customer, and it's kind of, I think, the revolution. We transfer from a sending to a channel, just sending emails, to sending to customer, and customer became a focus. And we get the data about customer from all the possible channels. And if we would look on the definition of a customer data platform from Gartner, we would see that there are 4 required stages. Stage number 1 is a data collection. Get the data from different channels, different sources. Second is a profile unification. It's kind of golden idea how to define that this user on a site, the same that I know him with this email or this mobile installation, or he has, I don't know, several sessions. We just need to match all the data around one customer profile and analyze all this data. When you have a data, when you match them for customer, then you can do segmentation. And earlier it was just very simple segmentation by region, I don't know, by gender or some social, I don't know. But now we speak about the segmentation by behavior, and there are a lot of segments. So when you do segments, then you need to activate them, sending message to them using any channel. It could be email, it could be web push, mobile, text message, doesn't matter, app inbox, whatever you want, to a chat or social. So activate them. But also the definition will extend it in something on the middle between segmentation and activation. And there is all kind of AI there. So a lot of segments you can do, so you can do it automatically. We can predict the segment you want, the segment who would buy this category of your item, or maybe segment who supposed to churn. And we need to activate because of it's still possible. Or you predict that if you would, people would stop reading email. You don't need to activate an email. So it's good time to have another channel to speak with him and use different channels, reactivate in all of them. It's a strategy of omni-channel. It was a multi-channel when we just use different channels to send message. Omni-channel means that customer in the middle and every channel supports each other. And it's like brain shifting. We have to think differently there. So it's a kind of customer data platform we have to understand. And I think the next step have to be goal-driven CDP. So it was CDP, omni-channel thing, and goal-driven. What is this? To understand, I really like the things that Elon Musk do. Really, I hate his political position because of, I didn't say that I'm from Ukraine. And most of our developers are from Ukraine. We're a global company, but Elon Musk told that, okay, maybe it's time to, I don't know, to leave territory of Ukraine to Russia. Maybe war would stop. I have this position, but we are not for politics here. Emails. He did very great things in SpaceX, in Tesla, in others his projects. So if we would speak about ESP, marketing automation platform, CDP, I would compare them with the vehicles. First, it's just scooter, which is very simple ESP. It just helps you to go from one place to other faster, very easy. Marketing automation platform means that you have a very rich tool set, like a Swiss Army knife. You can build whenever you want, but it would be your bicycle or your school. That doesn't matter. But you have the instruction how it works. If you would ask somebody from a side to help you and what you build, he has to learn a lot. Because if your direct marketer left and you have new one, how long time it takes him to understand what you did, even if you have documentation, but who has documentation? Nobody, constantly changing. So it's marketing automation platform. CDP is like a car. It's solid, it's very fast, but you still have to drive. You still have to look what happened on the road. You have to react on the traffic light, on the other things. You have to choose a direction. But I would say Tesla is anonymous driving. I know that it was a terrible accident last week in Chinese when it went out of control and 2 people died. But it's still the system that can go to the place. And you don't need to care about a lot of things. You just need to keep your eye on what happened. So the question, is it possible to do the same in the marketing? If you would ask me, I don't know, 10 years ago, is it possible to do in the marketing, well, it's easy in the marketing or in a anonymous car driving, I would say in the marketing, because of car driving means it's a lot of lives, a lot of, you cannot predict all the things happen on the road because of, it's not only road, it's a lot of unpredictable people or animals or I don't know, everything could be, but it works. What we can do to do the same for marketing, and it looks like it's magic. It never can work. What if I would say I want to have, I don't know, more money? Oh, no problem. We will solve it. Just go and look how it works. Is it possible? It's magic. No, but I like the quote from Arthur Clarke, who said, any sufficient advanced technology, and we're doing about advanced technology, is indistinguishable from magic. So it's what we need. We need to create advanced technology if it's possible. And look to the Elon Musk success. There are 6 levels of delegation. So it's not happening one day. So it was just drive it or look. I would suggest you, and you just use my recommendation, and then blah blah blah. And at the end, you give your recommendation to me, and just you look how I drive. So can we do it in the marketing? The first step, we just need to understand how it works, just where we have to start. And we have to start from me, what we just thought from Mika, that best practices usually sucks. Today, yeah, it was our first session. I'm not agree with it. It sometimes sucks, yes, when you don't think what you do. But what I have from my experience, that if you start to work, your most money you can have if you just implement all best practices. Don't think about very efficient things, just do what you need to do before you start to do real marketing. And you will have more money. Then you start to do experiments, then you start to get the data, that you fit your system to work perfectly, to analyze the data. When you have a data, when you connect all to your profile, when you send all this at least, I don't know, 2 messages per week if you are in commerce promotions, if you integrated all triggers, abandoned cards, views, reactivation, welcomes, and blah, blah, blah. So I like the book Chad White, Email Marketing Rules. that writes all the best practices. And if you speak about the campaigns, I can say that there are, I don't know, only based on action you do something. Based on action on a site, on purchase, or in email, or in registration. And you have, I don't know, based on site activity, abundant cards, abundant views, abundant categories, abundant searchers. And then after this, you have like price for item you browse, out of stock, you were interested, put in the comparison or searched for, and we have something for you, limited offers. So you have a lot of triggers. It just must have think, very easy. Or maybe some, if you don't have a data, there is nothing to, to personalize. The future in personalization. So I have to start with this. It's no argues. So it's in data and personalization, right? Message, blah, blah, blah. It was our past, it's our today, and it will be our future. But let's think how it would work. People look into optimization, their best practices, starting to optimize the quality. Quality is changes design or content, maybe more personalized thing, maybe more frequently or less frequently, or work with a segmentation. So improving quality over communication over triggers. But a lot of people forgot about potential. Potential is about reach and about, I don't know, different channels. Let's give an example on very popular and most successful trigger bonded cards. Yeah. So we have two sets. One, all your known contacts. You have email or push token or mobile number, and you have a visitors on your site. With abundant cards, you can only work with the segments you know who is on your site. To send the message you forgot to just stop your session, just return back and buy. It's pretty small audience. Very effective trigger, very effective, but you send only few of them. So sometimes you need to focus how to enlarge your audience. And first, when somebody click on email, you have to mark up the session. You have add the identification in any possible way and extend number of contacts you know and who visited on a site. Or if you don't know who it is, you have to ask him, oh, who are you? Did you visit Amazon site? The first thing he asks, who are you? And we will help you with your personalized journey on a site. We will save your search. You will do what you want. So the same, you just need to have a forms, informers, helpers to know who it is. And after that, we have an experience and we know the benchmarks. So if you're on a site for product cards, we know that if you have this number of sessions, how many authenticated sessions? Typically, it's 30%. It's good number. So we have a benchmark and we can check, is it good or not? Or maybe from authentication session, how many emails you can send because of you have a data, you have everything. Usually it's again, could be 40% from authenticated session. You have less, so it's area to improve. And you can define all this benchmarking into every step of a channel. It means that we know what's bad or what's good, and you can optimize your campaigns. But where is the strategy here? Nothing about strategy. It's just best practices optimization. Interesting thing, when I read Casper book, if you didn't, you have email marketing, holistic email marketing. So she suggested the six stages to plan your strategy. First, starting with a goal, what you need, then objectives, where you want, what you exactly want to improve, the numbers, then you define the strategy. You want to improve retention because of a strategy. I would like to apply a loyalty system tactic, how you would apply techniques, what you need for this, some data source system you need for this, and how you measure this. And you start from top to bottom and build your strategy. Great idea. But look what most systems do. What system measure to improve? And I see that most of them measure open rate, they measure click rate, campaign efficiency, ROI for campaign. But all these metrics mostly bound to campaign or feature set or something. It is campaign driven, but what you have for goals. And I see that almost nothing. But after that, I started to think, okay, if there is nothing here, we need to find right metrics to measure goal, strategy, objectives. And I started to build all the list of all the metrics I know. And we split them usually into two parts, tactic and strategic. Tactic, that mostly around the campaign, open rate, click and subscribe, I don't bounce, open reach, a lot of them, error rate, split them into different segments, but they bound to campaign. The strategic doesn't matter how many campaigns you send. It's important what your customer does, what his lifetime, what's about retention, lifetime value, and so on. So contact-centric, not campaign. And here is RFM, segmentation, revenue, lifetime value, customer acquisition, churn rate, all the things which are inactive, but few companies do. Okay, where is the goal? We have a strategy, we have a tactic. Where is the goal and objective? It is a challenge I would like to solve. Okay, let's look to funnel. Because we have acquisition, boarding, engagement, conversion, retention, and activation. We say that email marketing for, it has to be a question to you, but let me answer, and I already highlighted, retention. We think that email for retention. But it's not so simple because it's not just line of dependence. Sometimes we acquire him, then we engage him, maybe he didn't convert, we have to re-engage, then he started to buy and lost some attention. So it's always like both side direction. It's not like a funnel. It's not like dropping from top to bottom. So if we would only look on the customer journey, on buying process, you would see that it's pretty complicated graph. So the thing it's not simple. And I would like to find my metric that would show where is my goal. And before to find metrics, we define the three characteristics that have to be for good metrics. And I think first, it has to be actionable. Actionable, it means that when you see this number, you change something, you start something new, or you stop something existing, or you fix some error, you do something actionable. Second, it has to be insightable. Insightable means you have something you didn't know before. You see the numbers because of added so many reporting, so many dashboarding, and a lot of conclusion was very obvious. So what is insightable? It means very simple to understand. You have to compare with what you had and what you have now, and it should help you to find potential where to apply your effort. Then it would help to be actionable. And the next one, the third one, maybe very important, critically important, is a dynamic, which means that you constantly have a signals that something important changed in with your audience, with your system, with your processes. If you see some dashboard today and in a week, it means that something has to be changed. So, okay, let's do what we have at the moment. RFM, very advanced, not advanced, very simple thing a lot of people use. It was invented for not email communication, for just regular mail communication. I mean, offline, post-mail communication. They optimized the process. What if we have $1,000 and 1,000 can send one email per $1, one mail? and we have $1,000, 1,000 people, and cost of one communication is $1. But we have to connect 4 times before he made a decision to buy. We have to find the best people to choose. And the RFM was adopted for email, and we have frequency and recency access domains. And more you bought with us, more often you bought with us, you a better person. But usually people just met us and didn't respond. It means go to the recency, to the bad segments. Okay, but I think it doesn't work really for emails, because for one segment it could be, I don't know, 1 month of silence is very bad. Let's look to our customers in marketing automation. One customer sent email once per week, another every day. So when we have to worry that he doesn't use the system, how to define the time? So the evolution of RFM was a customer grid. When frequency became a risk, when we know that, okay, I saw that it's normal warning problem and very bad. Normal, it's okay, don't worry, let him do what he wants. Worrying means we have to care about him. What maybe call him, maybe write a message to him, maybe just nudge him. Problem, something bad happened. It's a time to return him back. If you don't, you lose. And if it's a long time, maybe, okay, forgot about them, and he have to return back to acquisition, I don't know, too late. And frequency have to be changed into life cycle, new, loyal, or just first-time buyer, or so it's changed. And we have a problem here as well, because of not all the segments connected. You never can be from loyal to new, yeah, never. So you have very restricted number of transfers from one segment to another. But in this case, you can show the transfers easier. And it's a graph. It's a customer journey. So you start new, then if you do nothing, you just user. If you don't communicate with us, never bought, you just not active users and then lost users. Or if you buy, you are first-time buyer. You are our maybe most interesting audience to start to work. Second-time buyer means you did it several times. So loyal buyers, you did it regularly, and you love us. So you need more, maybe we need to bring more love to him than any, I don't know, promo codes. We just maybe gifts, not discounts, gifts, because of we appreciate he's with us. It's a loyal customer. Sleepy buyers bought, but I don't know, doesn't respond, or okay. So we have different segments and we have a flow between them. And if you will look here, we see that it is acquisition when you have a traffic, conversion from new user to first-time buyer, engagement, I mean, engage people who is not our customer yet, retention, get them. So we already have objectives. It's interesting if we have an objectives. So we have evolution from RFM to lifecycle grid. And let's give an example of what we do. Objective have to be dynamic. So in 1 month period, it's in thousands numbers for one of our e-commerce customers. So they have 78K acquired, and then some of them became bought from the very first day, and others became new members. Some during this month 2000 became a first-time buyer. So we have a dynamic, and this dynamic you can compare and understand. Okay, too many people will lose loyal buyers. Okay, but how to define who is a new member, who is a new? So we analyze the velocity, we analyze the speed of conversion from one state to another, for example, for us here is for our products, it's for Stripe. So we have only 4% conversion from free users to paid customers. But we have this 4 years during 4% during whole year. Most of them decide to buy during first week, 2.5%. So it means, okay, we would say that it's a time to actively onboard, actively sell. And we say new users is who are with us only 1 week and didn't buy it. So we defined the segment by their characteristics. And it's the same graph. We add the money there, how many customers and how much money they bring to us. So we understand the value and potential of each segment. It means that we know where we want to apply more effort. And we have a probability of a conversion from each stage to another. And we have a revenue stream in a timeline, how much you have from a first-time buyer, loyal customers, and how the shares are changed over the time. But when we only started to implement this, the first question we had, okay, but where is email here? It's just purchase activity. What is email? And here where we have to apply some attribution model. We have different models of attribution. Could be a last click or could be a last activity in a channel before he bought, doesn't matter what. And here we split total purchase and how many associated with email by different attribution model. And we understand that more close he is to buyer, the more value of email to the system. So we have 10% email for first-time purchases and 17, maybe almost in 2 times better for loyal customers. The next, we have to drill down into each stage and analyze what happened for first-time buyers and look to them. That, okay, some of them would maybe never return and buy second time. How many of them interact with email? How many of them interact with other channels? Which channel is used to which customer? We have to analyze. And again, we have a benchmark. When we have those things, we can build a prediction model, revenue modeling, where we say the probability of conversion from one stage to another. A lot of numbers. You don't need to understand all of them. I just want to show you that we know that from this number, from I don't know, from 36K, 8K would be first-time buyers, and 28K became just new members. So we have percentage. And what if we would improve acquisition on, or maybe onboarding, improve on 7% or something? So you can, what would happen if we would improve something? And in this case, you can predict if you would leave as is, you would grow this amount from, I don't know, it was, I don't know, for half a year, you would increase in 20K per month. But if you would apply improve retention on 5%, you in 6 years, every month, you would have additional 30 or 40K. It means, okay, so in 6 months, every month have additional 40K. How much I can spend into increasing retention? It's easy to plan. It's easy to see the result of your activity. But you have to understand where to apply your efforts. It's a retention, I don't know, a lot of numbers. I know that I will finish with more easy thing, but now we just need to deep dive, just very quickly understand that it's our churn rate, it's retention. So how many users left when they started to work with us? And we see that it's a blue line, it's just all our customers. But if we would look only to people who are agencies, it's much better than just agency plan we have, than a business plan. It means that different numbers, you never have to think in average. You always have to split all your data into different segments and care about them differently. System can do it easily. More numbers. Okay, I'm out of time, so I would skip this. I can answer later. Just want to focus on what? There are a lot of things where AI applied for marketing. It's recommendations, best next offer, prediction segmentation. It's what I mentioned. So I need a user who would buy this only with a discount with people. So it's easy. Now it works. Or you need the systems that give you perfect signals that something happened with this audience, you lost them because of you just never send them emails, or they're not responding to emails, but they have a mobile phones. Maybe it's time to send them a text message. They left email and ready for promotion. Or maybe they visited the site, but don't interact with email, maybe web push, or maybe you have to push them to install mobile application, and so on. So predict ROI on and the lifetime value, it's what I said. And the most important thing, optimize customer journey. Customer journey, not sending messages, but optimize every user journey, the time you spend for bringing him from new to loyal customer. And don't spend a lot of effort for lost users, for most your audience that never would return to you because of a lot of possible reasons. We're speaking about the future. I think that when system became to optimize customer journey, current campaign management systems, they focus on system role is just follow instruction. You write the rules for them. For triggers, you draw the flow. For mass mailing, you define the segments and brew email and design email with some personalization. But you define what you have to do every single step. The next step, I think, it's like marketing message management. When you define, okay, for this audience, I have these messages. And this message is designed in different ways for different channels. Just leave it as is. And let system decide, optimizing customer journey. How often send this message? In which channel change? How to mix with some regular content you provide for promotional. So the system role have to be defined, just choose transport, time, channel, frequency, and a lot of things. Completely different understanding. You don't need to define every simple action. The roadmap, it could be, doesn't matter which system you use, we changing the system in the way, and maybe I think the world is changing for this way. First, you have to apply your objective-oriented dashboards, like a customer journey map, or like a defined, understand all this transition. Give the attribution and profiling. Understand ROI management for customer, not only for campaign. Then you have to compare them. System should have to give you insights, potentials, find potentials, compare with industry benchmarks, with your benchmark, analyzing the trends, where users add more channels. It's a second big step. And third, when you can suggest, like an anonymous driving, and you apply the suggestion with some parameters, it means that, okay, if it's just best practices we can apply to you, we can do it automatically. So it's the same way as a Tesla did, we can do. And I'm sure that one day, if we work hard, we can be in completely different way, when we don't need to define the rule, when we have to think about the ideas, messaging, marketing, vision, mission, and customer, first of all. So I think future is there. But I also would like to show how another thing I borrow from Tesla. Let's go not from whole email marketing, only for email designing thing, because I'm working a lot about email designing as well. What's in common between the SpaceX Falcon 9 and our editor email design. It's a thing we borrow from them. It's a modules. If you look about the evolution of emails, first emails was HTML editor, then it was vis-a-vis. What you see is what you get. Just like in a Google, when you write emails in a Google, you can do bold, you can do just edit. The next step was drag and drop editors that works with the blocks, images, text, and so on. And the next step is working with the modules. Because of creating new email is hard. What Tesla SpaceX did. So the launching record is very expensive. It's what Svitlana said about the gamification. It's expensive. But what if we have a gamification model? We just need to refuel, reuse, and reusing make the all routine work and the price to support much cheaper. It's a thing. So modules is incredibly important thing. Let's give you an example. What is model? So it's a striper at the moment on a screen. So what you can do there, you can use drag and drop images, text, videos, very easy. Everybody knows about this. But when you already designed some block, you can just save it into a library. And when you save, and then you can reuse them. So use it as many times as you want in different messages. You don't need to design a game. It's a module. But another thing important about the module is just concept from programming, model view controller. What is this? Model is design, and view is a data. Excuse me. Vice versa. View is a design, model is a data. And we have some logic that puts the data between them. So what it means for real design. Let's say that in our design, we have, product card. Product card, you can write image, text, and something. But we call it like a smart modules. You have a variables like a name, price, and you can very easily change the price here. You never would broke something, and the link could be here and in the button buy and something. If you have this, you can very easily get the data from any source and put in the results. I just opened, I don't know, any in eBay, any link in eBay. So you can just put the link, and it automatically can get the data, image, links, and help you design or build it much faster. The same you can do for gamification stuff. If you have a game, you can just define the options for this game, and it would work in email. And you don't need to have to know all the technical or designing things. The same it could be for blog. Like I had.
Now it's your Dima turn, you know.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like it's some delay. So, okay, I'm almost done. So you can add the link and get all the data automatically, very easily. Okay, I'm not sure that you can hear me. Please let me know if I'm still live.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we hear you.
So it is. It just a lot of things changed. Let me give like a small conclusion. First, the system would do different things. You don't need to do any routine work. Marketers should think about customer. They have to apply the marketing idea, and the system have to be changed, and all ecosystem for marketers have to be changed. The same for design of emails, the same for design of pop-ups, the same for mobile marketing. A lot of things have to be changed in case of not to follow instruction, but give the system ability to drive us to our goal. We only need to have a chance to set up the goal. So that's it. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. But actually, I have the questions. So,
Yes,
but this everything, like, let's say, the system driven, or how you said, or you bring it up this Tesla. So I don't know. Have you heard the case? It was or this week or the week before, KFC in Germany, when the automation, they have also some AI, and the automation did. He looked all those festives and put together the offer and the festive or some special day. And what this AI did, he sent the information in the Germany. There is the Kristallnacht, where the Germans programmed the Jews and burned their houses and the shops. And then the KFC sent out the email to the clients that, all right, for the celebrating of the Kristallnacht, go to KFC and eat some cheese snack. So there is a little bit like, oh, maybe it's
okay.
It's opportunity to go wrong.
Yes, it is an opportunity to go wrong. And you know, I have maybe it's easy to describe in another example. I have 3 children, and you know, they do so many mistakes, and it's not a reason for them not to allow them to do mistakes and learn. And what's interesting, we always say that children learn too fast. Data, and if you just think, learn even faster. What I want to say that we don't need to, we should not afraid. It's a fear that they would do worse than us. Okay, let's do, but maybe only for tiny part, maybe step by step. I don't ask my son to solve me, my life problem. I don't know what kind of. Okay, son, let's go and bring me something he cannot do. We have to deal step by step. And when I know that I can trust him to ask him to go to a shop and buy me something, and he do it very well. Not every time, but now I can trust him. The same we can do with the system. We have to learn step by step and trust. Maybe there would be a lot of mistakes, and maybe if we never do this, we will always do the same by us, even when we are old and we are busy. And okay, today I don't have an electricity at the moment in the office. What would be here? But if I don't know, I have AI version of me. I don't know.
All right, and one question what I wanted to ask from Svitlana is, and Dmitry also talked about a lot about this gamification, and let's say or the gifts what you're giving, or the options when you choose the yellow shirt, or I want coffee, I want tea, I love cats, I love dogs, I love elephants. But and for every this segment, you will do your own journeys, your own flows. Is it going, or what the point is that maybe it's going to a little bit too overreact?
Too much, yeah. It could be, of course, but if we're talking about you prepare personalized content for each segment, you don't do it at the same time, you know, you just start from one segment, one idea, and just try. If it works, you can customize new letters, new emails for new segment, and so on, so on. So as Dima said, just go step by step, yeah, because just start from something, yeah.
Okay.
Can I add something here? Yeah, gamification is not something that have to be in all your messages, all your communication. It can be, but I don't know if you ever use the system like Duolingo or something. They had just gamification in all the processes, which makes the thing easier. It doesn't mean that you don't learn when you do some, if you have some scores, award system, or you're afraid to lose something if you would not do now. They have a sense of urgency. They have an avatar. They have the hero, this owl, and you can play with it. So gamification have to be embedded not in email, but in your business process, and add more fun and help people to understand playing. From other side, you can have a different kind of, I don't know, if your business is a restaurant, is a chain of restaurant, what you can send them? Menu, you're not updating menu once per season. Chief advices is boring. You have very limited things. What you have to write there, discounts, what kind of discount you just have, I don't know, special day, nothing. But in this case, you can interact with I don't know, some values of your audience or something, just kind of, we applied the gamification in this process. And sometimes it was even the reason why we are sending a message. And a lot of people were participated. The average check was increased in twice comparable to promotional emails.
Okay.
And check. So they went to restaurants, they received free dessert. Dessert is more marginal thing in a restaurant. So they ordered a lot, but had a free dessert. So, okay, different businesses, different idea, different purpose of gamification. It doesn't mean that all your communication must be fun.
Okay, and one more to Svitlana. So if you are engaging them with gamification or with a gift or with a lottery, and again, it goes inside this, what Dmitry told. So you will get high rates in the beginning, let's say engagement or subscription or whatever, but I'm going again back there that if the gamification is like fun, cool, prices, whatever, you get the first subscribers and engagement very high, but what's happened afterwards? So maybe they are only the price or gaming drive.
Yeah, I got it. So as I shown you on some slides about cohort analysis, yeah, and you can see some insights that users who come on, for example, for Black Friday from some gamification, yeah, could be inactive in some period. Of course, it could be, but the period in which they become inactive depends on what other activities on other emails you send. Of course, it's about the frequency, about the content, yeah, about the right content and the right moment to the right person. So it's about segmentation, it's about personalization, it's about frequency and preferences. Of course, if they want to unsubscribe, let them unsubscribe. Okay, they do the conversion. We are great about it. Yeah, we're happy about it. But let's just let it go. And for another people, for another subscribers, which is more, now they're active, and you understand that in some time they could be inactive. So you just build some forecast, yeah, in which period, in which situation, about what content or about what letter they could churn from your database. Yeah, so just build your work Yeah, based on this way of pretending of being churn instead of reactivate inactive. Yeah,
Okay.
just keep in touch with your subscribers.
All right. So anyway, it's more strategical than just, all right, let's hype all this subscriptions and first buyers, and then it's like, okay, let's see what's happened afterwards.
Yeah, on this step, when you're talking about gamification, we are talking about the first step. Just take a lead, just get this email. Yeah, and then you have another block of work, another area, and another goal, and another KPIs, of course.
All right. As everyone has from the participants, any questions more? If not, so thank you, everyone. Dmitry, the idea of the future is maybe a little bit frightening, but probably anyway, it's gonna go this way. And thanks all the speakers, why we are doing it. So we want to share this knowledge and keep the discussion alive in our community. So we are trying now to gather all the materials, look how our recording went, and you will soon have the opportunity to rewatch today's event and share it with your colleagues, business partners, etc. And for more knowledge, follow Smaily's blog, and which is constantly updated, and also you can go and subscribe to our newsletter. I will send the link. And thank you. Until next time, I hope we do the same thing again in the spring next year. So see you again there.